Chapter 1174. The crimson light condensed into a cloud of fiery red dragon might. It spread out and seemed to ignite a sea of fire, covering the sky and blocking Dao Master Blue Thunder, and Shizongyue. A fiery red dragon rose and fell in the sea of fire. Its terrifying power caused the world to tremble, and the ground below instantly cracked and burst into flames. Dao Master Blue Thunder and Shizongyue both felt their hearts sink, because they both recognized the enemy in front of them. It was the current clan leader of the Fire Dragon Clan, Flame Dragon King, an expert of the Dragon Clan at the Star Soul Unification Realm. Facing Qin Emperor Shi Yu and the Immortal Dragon City, Flame Dragon King was naturally no match for them. But for Dao Master Blue Thunder and Shizongyue, who were at the Void Return Realm, this was a behemoth that they could not resist. Shizongyue's expression darkened. He did not dare to hesitate and immediately took out the hidden dragon kettle. The magic treasure that was originally the size of a kettle grew in the wind and turned into a giant kettle that was hundreds of feet high and tens of feet in diameter. Golden light gushed out from the mouth of the kettle and turned into a huge light dragon that hovered between heaven and earth. As for Shizongyue himself, he had transformed into a 10-meter-tall giant wearing a crown and a majestic aura. He was dressed in a fiery red robe, and when he opened his eyes, raging flames would appear, transforming into red clouds. Within the red clouds, there was a crimson dragon of light swaying up and down, somewhat similar to the flame-flowing Dragon King in the Sea of Flames. Shizongyue manifested his Void Return Dharma body and shook the hidden dragon kettle. The crimson light dragon and golden light dragon fused together in a spiral, twisting and turning into a golden pillar of fire that blasted towards Flame Dragon King. Dao Master Blue Thunder also did not hold back at all. He displayed his Void Return Dharma body, which was a bluish-purple thundercloud. Within the thundercloud, there were countless purple lightning dragons that constantly moved up and down. Arcs of lightning continuously jumped, revealing a terrifying aura like a heavenly tribulation. As Dao Master Blue Thunder performed the spell, purple light balls with a radius of an acre gradually rose from the thundercloud like bubbles. Within those balls of light, they were all filled with densely packed purple lightning. They crackled and crackled, creating a deafening sound that caused one's heart to palpitate. It was the Nine-Heaven Thunderbolt that was inherited from the ancient Thunder Emperor of Purple Heaven Taoism. It was as famous as the Chaos Immortal Slaying Thunder of the Grand Emperor Orthodoxy. Dao Master Blue Thunder's supernatural power was naturally incomparable to the Creation Magic Treasure Grand Emperor Palace, but in terms of the quality of the two thunder techniques, the Nine-Heaven Thunderbolt was not inferior to the Chaos Immortal Slaying Thunder at all. And even better, under the control of Dao Master Blue Thunder, the thunderballs formed a line and fiercely shot towards Flame Dragon Queen, echoing the attacks of Great Qin's King and Liang, Shizongyue. The combined attacks of the two return to void stage mighty figures stirred heaven and earth, forcing the sea of flames around them to tumble and retreat. However, Dragon King Flowing Flame didn't seem to care about this at all, her huge dragon head poking out from the cloud of fiery dragon might as she stared coldly at Prince and Liang Shizongyue, a faint look of arrogance and disdain flashing across her eyes. She snorted coldly and her huge body completely rushed out of the fire clouds. Her dragon tail swung in the sky and directly collided with the attack of Shizongyue and the hidden dragon pot. A large amount of crimson dragon flames emerged from the dragon tail and collided with the golden pillar of fire, forcibly dispersing it. The Flame Dragon Clan was born to be unafraid of all kinds of fire. Except for the 7 great true fires, they didn't care about any other fire. If Shizongyue was in the Dao integration realm, Flame Dragon Queen would have to be a little more careful. However, at this moment, she completely disregarded Shizongyue's attack. As for Dao Master Blue Thunder's chain of thunderballs, he suddenly opened his mouth and the crimson dragon flames turned into a straight line of fire, piercing through the chain of thunderballs. But at this moment, the thundercloud formed by Dao Master Blue Thunder's Void Return Dharma body kept tumbling and splitting apart. In the middle of the thundercloud, a dazzling saber light lit up. The saber light was turquoise and reflected the purple lightning around it. Purple Heaven Dao Transformation Level Magic Treasure, Blue Thunder Evil Crushing Saber. Just as the thunderballs were about to explode after being pierced by Flame Dragon Queen's fire line, The turquoise saber light suddenly lit up and also formed a line, fusing with the power of the thunderballs. The shattered thunderballs turned into endless lightning. At this moment, all of them were gathered by the blue thunder evil-crushing saber, and turned into a heaven-splitting, earth-shattering, blue-green saber light that slashed towards Flame Dragon Queen. Flame Dragon Queen's expression didn't change. She stretched out a claw that was covered in flames. The entire dragon claw instantly turned into a ball of raging fire, and accurately intercepted the saber light. The saber light was caught in Flame Dragon Queen's palm, and kept flickering. However, it couldn't break free and the lightning and flames exploded together. Flame Dragon Queen opened her mouth again, and spat out a line of fire. The line of fire looked very thin and light, as if it didn't have any strength. However, it was a highly condensed and concentrated dragon fire, forming an indestructible flaming sword that was like a sharp blade. In terms of size, the blue-green saber light released by Tao Master Blue Thunder was much more powerful than the line of fire spat out by Flame Dragon Queen. However, as the line of fire streaked across the void, it sliced through the thick saber light that seemed capable of splitting the heavens and splitting the earth. Two muffled groans came from the thundercloud formed by Tao Master Blue Thunder at the same time. One came from Tao Master Blue Thunder, and the other came from the Blue Thunder Evil-Crushing Saber's magic treasure origin spirit. The saber light was the fusion of the magic power of one person and one treasure. Their entire body's essence, energy, and spirit were invested in the saber light. Now that the saber light was broken, it was reflected back to them, and they immediately suffered heavy injuries. Tao Master Blue Thunder's void return to void Dharma body suddenly split in two, and the red line in the middle seemed to have been cut. Flame Dragon Queen didn't show any mercy. She moved her body and endless raging flames followed. She instantly pounced in front of Shi Zhongyue and Tao Master Blue Thunder, her two dragon claws directly grabbing towards them. Shi Zhongyue wanted to resist, but Flame Dragon Queen's dragon claws were like a cage. Fire dragons crisscrossed and covered the surrounding void, trapping Shi Zhongyue and the hidden dragon kettle together. A fake dragon created by the human clan to imitate my clan. In my eyes, you're even worse than a snake. Flame Dragon Queen said coldly. Endless flames suddenly swept in all directions, like a furnace of heaven and earth, trapping Shi Zhongyue underneath. She wanted to burn this great Qin dynasty elder alive. In addition to Flame Dragon Queen, Shi Zhongyue, and Tao Master Blue Thunder, there were also a large number of Great Qin Dynasty and Purple Cloud Path cultivators trapped in the Sea of Fire. There were also other Dragon Clan experts besieging them. It could be said that Purple Cloud Path was completely caught in the crossfire this time. It was extremely difficult for them to escape at this time. The surrounding area was filled with fire clouds formed by Flame Dragon Queen's demonic power. The violent dragon fire would immediately turn any cultivator below the nascent soul realm into ashes. Many people of the Great Qin Dynasty also showed a look of despair. They relied on the other two Void Return Realm experts and a transformation stage magic treasure to open a barrier to barely resist. But outside the barrier, several Dragon Clan experts launched attacks, causing the barrier to shake as if it would shatter at any time. Berserk dragon roars reverberated throughout the world. Everyone of Purple Cloud Path looked up worriedly. In the depths of the Sea of Fire in the sky, there was a faint flash of lightning, but it was getting weaker and weaker. Everyone's heart was heavy. Whether it was Qin Emperor Shi Yu, Tao Master Blue Thunder, or Prince and Liang Shi Zhongyue, they were all in trouble. Their only hope now was for others to rescue them. Previously, Zhu Yi, Shi Tianhao, and the others from the Xian Gate Sky sect had already received news that they were rushing over. However, they were relatively far away. Relatively speaking, the person who was closer was the Great Qin Kingdom's King Ruyang, Shi Zhongmao, who guarded the realm passageway. Shi Zhongmao was a Dao integration expert, and he also carried a Mahayana grade Dharma treasure, the Kong Dragon Truncheon. It might not be of much use in the battle between Qin Emperor Shi Yu and the Kunlun Dragon King and Blue Sky Dragon King, but it could fight against Flame Dragon Queen. King Rosen Shi Zhongmao, who had received the news, immediately rushed over from the entrance of the realm passage, but he was still nowhere to be seen. A primordial true spirit flame dragon that was attacking the barrier stared at the people of the Great Qin Dynasty and Purple Cloud Path and sneered. Waiting for someone to rescue you? Don't bother. That Dao integration stage fake dragon of the Great Qin has already been blocked by King Honing. As soon as these words came out, the hearts of all the human cultivators present sank. Other than the Yuan Dragon King, the Kunlun Dragon King, the newly ascended Shen Dragon King, and the Jade Sky Dragon King, who was only one step away from the Dharma ending period, there were 5 other powerful beings that were well known to outsiders. All of them were great demons that had achieved the astral soul unification. These 5 powerful beings were the current clan leader of the Sea Dragon tribe, the Purple Sea Dragon King, the current number 1 powerful being of the White Jade Dragon tribe, the current clan leader of the Flame Dragon race, the ancestral Crocodile Sage, who was killed by Lin Feng back then, and the Honing Dragon King, who took over the position of clan leader of the Yellow Dragon tribe after Dragon King Huangshen reached the end of cultivation. Other than Flame Dragon Queen, the Honing Dragon King had also come out of the Xian Ocean with the Kunlun Dragon King and Blue Sky Dragon King. With him blocking the way, the Great Qin dynasty's King Rosenshir Zongyue and the Kong Dragon Truncheon would not be able to escape in a short time, regardless of whether they won or lost. A sense of despair enveloped everyone's hearts. Meanwhile, the pressure brought by the powerful beings of the dragon tribe who were attacking the enchantment barrier became stronger and stronger. A total of 3 primitive true spirit stage dragons revealed their true forms, and their violent attacks blanketed the sky. Finally, the enchantment barrier began to crack. The primitive true spirit stage flame dragon raised its head and let out a long roar. Then it lowered its head and spat out scorching dragon flames into the cracked enchantment barrier. The other powerful beings of the dragon tribe also descended, and a bloody massacre instantly ensued. Of the 2 returned to void stage powerful beings of the Great Qin dynasty, one was a member of the royal family, and the other was an itinerant cultivator. The itinerant cultivator's expression changed drastically. He immediately turned around and gathered all his strength to break through the fiery clouds. In this critical situation, he unleashed all of his means, and he even sacrificed his return to void stage Dharma body in order to forcefully open a crack. The fiery clouds finally dispersed, and a crack appeared. However, before he could rejoice, he was grabbed by a powerful being of the dragon tribe from behind, and his primordial spirit was torn apart with a single claw strike. However, the crack that he had created was still there. However, it disappeared in a flash, and it looked like it was about to close up. The wanton dragon flames also affected the cultivators of the purple firmament Dao. Among the crowd, Goulet gritted his teeth and raised a purple flag. The other cultivators of the purple firmament Dao beside him also struggled to raise their purple flags, and then they got into formation. Seeing this, Li Kuei-yin's eyes flashed with determination, and she also took out an identical flag. However, before she could raise it, it was snatched away by Goulet. "Let's go." Li Kuei-yin's expression changed drastically. Without any explanation, Goulet made a series of hand seals, and purple lightning flashed incessantly around his body. It was as if he had transformed into a human figure made of lightning. He also raised the second flag. The 12 purple flags swayed together, and a large amount of lightning flashed. At the same time, they protected everyone in the center, and at the same time, they temporarily blocked the crack. Chapter 1175. A group of purple cloud Dao cultivators used a secret technique to sacrifice the flags. As the 12 purple flags fluttered, they formed a formation and temporarily prevented the crack from opening further. However, with the pressure of the dragon fire and clouds, the formation was on the verge of collapse and could shatter at any time. This formation was originally used to fight against enemies, but in the current situation, the Yuanian cultivators of Purple Cloud Dao were completely unable to fight against the primordial true spirit cultivators of the Dragon Clan. The formation could only fight for a chance of survival. This chance of survival was fought for the others. The person who set up the formation maintained the crack to open a path, and to cut off the retreat. Under such circumstances, the chances of survival were extremely slim. Li Kuei-yin looked sorrowful as she looked at Goulet, who seemed to have turned into an electric man. What Goulet used was the Purple Cloud Dao. There would be great side effects after forcefully squeezing one's body. Under normal circumstances, it might only be a problem, and there was still a way out. However, in the current situation, there was no chance of survival. However, with the support of the secret technique, he was able to raise 2 flags with the power of one person. Gu Lei, whose facial features had completely turned into lightning, looked at Li Kuei-yin, and the corners of his mouth twitched as he smiled slightly. In the distance, the cultivators of the Great Qin dynasty also wanted to escape through the crack, but they were the main targets of the Dragon Clan. Under the leadership of a few primordial true spirit cultivators of the Dragon Clan, there were also many dragons of the indestructible demon soul realm. They charged into the camp of the Great Qin dynasty and began a bloody massacre. The situation was urgent. A group of Purple Cloud Dao cultivators rushed out of the crack. Their fellow disciples risked their lives to fight for the hope of survival for them. At this moment, they did not hesitate or feel sad. It did not mean that they valued relationships, but it meant that they did not know what was important. Any hesitation would be a waste of the precious time that these people who were determined to die had fought for. If they wanted to live and die together, they could just give up resisting and wait for death. A situation of certain death would make people despair. As long as there was a glimmer of hope, Gu Lei and the others would not be passive and hesitant. Without saying goodbye or crying, Li Kuei-yin also rushed out of the crack. However, her body was like a walking corpse, and her eyes had lost their vitality. She only looked back at Gu Lei in a daze. When Gu Lei activated his secret technique and raised the 2 purple flags, his fate was already sealed. Gu Lei's gaze was no longer as unyielding as before. He looked at his wife, and a faint smile appeared on his face that had turned into lightning. "I'll listen to you for the rest of my life, except for this. Don't blame me." There were no words spoken, nor was there any communication through divine sense. However, just a moment of eye contact was enough for Li Kuei-yin to understand Gu Lei's thoughts at this moment. Li Kuei-yin's eyes seemed to have regained its vigor and toughness. "Don't give me that. You've always listened to me on small matters, but I've always listened to you on big matters." "Ah, is that so?" As their eyes met, Gu Lei could also understand Li Kuei-yin's meaning. The smile at the corner of his mouth became more obvious, but the mana aura around him became more unstable. Amidst the lightning, Gu Lei's yuanying was glowing brightly, as if it was burning. "Then listen to me for the last time." Li Kuei-yin wanted to simply stop. She wanted to say that she would listen to him for the rest of her life, but not this time. However, when she saw Gu Lei's gentle gaze, she felt that it was difficult for her to go against his final wish. At that moment, tears fell from Li Kuei-yin's eyes. They had known each other since they were young. Before they joined Purple Cloud Path, they were already childhood sweethearts. They loved each other, and when they grew up, they became husband and wife as they wished. They supported each other until today. The scenes from her memories all appeared in Li Kuei-yin's mind. The blazing fire instantly evaporated the tears on Li Kuei-yin's face. A violent dragon fire shot from afar, and before the people of Purple Cloud Path could rush out of the crack, it had already pounced in front of them. The expressions of Gu Lei, Li Kuei-yin, and the others changed. They saw that it was a primordial true spirit flame dragon. When it was fighting with the cultivators of the Great Qin dynasty, the dragon fire was dodged by the cultivators of the Great Qin dynasty, and then it landed right in front of the people of Purple Cloud Path. In the end, Gu Lei sighed. He could only watch, but he was powerless to stop it from happening. It was already difficult for the formation formed by the 12 purple flags to support the crack. Now that it was spewed by the dragon fire, it immediately collapsed. Under the effect of the powerful force, the space distorted, and a few cultivators of Purple Cloud Path were sent out of the crack and managed to escape. However, most of them were completely sealed in the sea of flames, and the crack twisted and closed again. Naturally, the cultivators of Purple Cloud Path who were supporting the 12 purple flags were not spared. The dragon fire filled the sky as if it could even burn through space. Under the attack of the flames, a large number of cultivators of Purple Cloud Path had their protective lightning light destroyed. Then they turned into fireballs and perished in the sea of flames. Seeing that a large number of people from the same sect had died, and only a few of them were left, one of the cultivators of Purple Cloud Path could not help but struggle and shout, "Our Purple Cloud Path has nothing to do with Immortal Dragon City." That flame dragon was originally staring at the cultivators of the Great Qin dynasty. At this moment, it turned its head. Purple Cloud Path? I almost forgot. Rumor has it that there are many sects in the vast land of the Middle Divine region. But your relationship with the celestial sect of Xianmen is good? Oh no. That struggling cultivator of Purple Cloud Path instantly showed despair on his face. He was so depressed that he did not even have the will to continue resisting. Soon he was devoured by the flames. The relationship between the Great Qin dynasty and the dragon race was extremely bad. And the relationship between Xianmen Tianzong and the dragon race was also very bad. Putting aside the fact that the Scarlet Thunder Dragon King of the Brontosaurus race was refined into a clone of the Brontosaurus by Lin Feng, the Kunlun Dragon King who was currently fighting with Immortal Dragon City, had his right claw and dragon tail severed by the master of the Mystic Gate, Lin Feng. The Blue Sky Dragon King was also injured in that battle. The Flame Dragon said coldly, "Not to mention you cultivators of Purple Cloud Path. Even the direct descendants of Xianmen Tianzong will be killed without mercy if they fall into my hands today. If the cultivators of the Mystic Gate want to take revenge on me, then let them come. If they are strong enough, they can kill me. If they are not strong enough, I will kill them too. We will fight to the death." The Fang Dragon King let out a roar. The dragon fire around him merged with the sea of fire formed by Flame Dragon King's dragon aura, and became even more violent. Gulei's lightning body quickly dissipated under the scorching flames. He smiled bitterly at Li Kueyin in front of him. "In the end, I still couldn't send you out." Li Kueyin was also in the flames. She smiled and held Gulei's hand. Although she also cultivated the Purple Cloud Path, she was still burned by the lightning when she touched Gulei's lightning body. However, Li Kueyin's expression was calm. She opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but in the end, there was only one sentence left. "Let's leave it at that." A gentle smile appeared on Gulei's face. "That's the only way." The couple's bodies were gradually swallowed by the boundless sea of fire, never to be seen again. As for the cultivators of the Great Qin dynasty, they were either killed by the experts of the Dragon Clan, or burned to ashes in the flames. In the sky above the sea of fire, Flame Dragon King's long roar resounded through the heavens and earth. As the boundless flames burned, Prince and Liang, Shi Zongyue, and Dao Master Lan Ting, who were held in his claws, had their Yuan spirits broken, and could not even maintain their human forms. Shi Zongyue's void return Dharma body had completely shattered, leaving only his Yuan spirit incarnation. As for Dao Master Lan Ting's void return Dharma body, it was also gradually falling apart. The ethereal thundercloud seemed to have condensed into a solid form. It was covered with cracks, and within the cracks, there was a large amount of lightning flashing. As Flame Dragon King increased the strength of his claws, Dao Master Lan Ting's void return Dharma body was also shattered by Flame Dragon King. The Hidden Dragon Kettle and the Blue Thunder Evil Crushing Saber were also on the verge of shattering under the heavy pressure. The terrifying dragon fire continued to burn, causing the well-tempered blade of the Blue Thunder Evil Crushing Saber to gradually distort. Cracks also appeared on the surface of the Hidden Dragon Kettle. It was like a porcelain that had been burned and was gradually becoming useless. Flame Dragon King said coldly, "Hidden Dragon Kettle? It's just a place where a fake dragon is inferior to a snake. Can a real dragon be hidden?" As she spoke, light dragons formed by flames forcibly rushed into the mouth of the Hidden Dragon Kettle. Shi Zongyue watched this scene with his eyes wide open, but he was powerless to stop it. Muffled groans constantly came from the Hidden Dragon Kettle. Inside the kettle, the long-bearded old man formed by the magic treasure's Yuan spirit was entangled by the fire dragons. His entire body was burning and his nose and mouth were spewing fire, instantly turning into nothingness. With a boom, the fire dragons directly rushed out of the Hidden Dragon Kettle, shattering the entire kettle into pieces. Flame Dragon King's eyes were cold. It can accommodate a fake dragon, but it can't accommodate a real dragon. As he spoke, he exerted force with his claws and directly crushed Shi Zongyue's Yuan spirit. The Great Qin dynasty's previous generation elder, Emperor Qin Shiyu's uncle, Prince Anliang Shi Zongyue, had perished. Flame Dragon King opened his mouth and sucked in the flowing fire formed by Shi Zongyue's Yuan spirit. It gathered into a flame, and was directly swallowed by him. In the next moment his dragon claws exerted force again. Tao Master Blue Thunder and the Blue Thunder Evil Crushing Saber shook, unable to bear the burden. Flame Dragon King's monster power moved, but Tao Master Blue Thunder was still in his hand, and the Blue Thunder Evil Crushing Saber was empty. But before this incarnation-level magic treasure could do anything, Flame Dragon King opened his mouth and swallowed it. Lightning flashed in Flame Dragon King's mouth and sparks flew from time to time. But Flame Dragon King didn't seem to care, and forcibly swallowed the Blue Thunder Evil Crushing Saber. In the next moment, his gaze fell on Tao Master Blue Thunder, who was already on the verge of death. At this moment, Flame Dragon King's expression suddenly changed. He saw the void in the distance break open and a magnificent golden light traverse between heaven and earth, shuttling through the sky and directly smashing the fiery red dragon might auspicious clouds. The golden light condensed and turned into a magnificent golden bridge. Countless flowers fell from the sky and rainbows fell. It was Zhu Yi's Permitha Golden Bridge. Before the magnificent golden bridge fell, just its magic power and aura shook, forcing Flame Dragon King to let go of Tao Master Blue Thunder. Chapter 1176. Above the sky, a magnificent golden bridge stretched across the horizon. A young scholar in a purple and white robe stood on the golden bridge with a gloomy face. It was Zhu Yi. Just now his heart palpitated slightly and he had a very bad feeling. At this moment, when he broke through the fiery red clouds, he could only see Tao Master Lan Ting and Flame Dragon King's claws. He couldn't see anyone else. Although he didn't see anything, Zhu Yi's heart sank. He vaguely realized the reason for his palpitations. Gu Lei and his wife were in trouble. Zhu Yi let out a long sigh and slammed his palm on the Permitha Golden Bridge. The vast golden bridge directly smashed down towards Flame Dragon King. Flame Dragon King's expression changed drastically. If it was only Zhu Yi, he wouldn't hesitate to fight. However, he couldn't resist the Permitha Golden Bridge. The vast and mighty golden light descended, splitting apart the fiery red dragon's auspicious clouds. The sea of fire scattered in all directions, turning into a rain of fire that filled the sky. Flame Dragon King was forced to let go of Tao Master Lan Ting. His huge body turned in the sky and turned into a line of fire. He shuttled through the void and quickly escaped. However, the Permitha Golden Bridge stretched across the sky. No matter how Flame Dragon King tried to escape, he was always under the Golden Bridge. He could only watch as the Golden Bridge pressed down on him. The void in the distance suddenly shook and the world was directly dyed green. The world seemed to be divided into two halves. One side was emerald green, and the other was normal. The green half of the world was constantly moving forward and devouring the original world, as if it wanted to turn the entire world green. In that dark green world, auspicious clouds filled the air, and dragon might overflowed. It was the Jade Sky Dragon King who had sensed the arrival of Zhu Yi and the Permitha Golden Bridge. Thus, he temporarily abandoned Qin Emperor Stonefeather and the Immortal Dragon City to fight Zhu Yi. Although the Immortal Dragon City could resist the Kunlun Dragon King's attack, it would be disadvantageous if the battle dragged on. Although the Blue Sky Dragon King hated the existence of the Great Qin Dynasty and the Immortal Dragon City, if he ignored Zhu Yi and the Permitha Golden Bridge, Flame-Flowing Dragon King and the other dragon clan members would all die. Therefore, he had to intervene. The Jade Dragon Flame transformed into a world of treasure light that enveloped the entire world. After Dragon King Flowing Flame was trapped within, a fiery light flashed and she disappeared. The majestic golden Permitha Bridge landed on the treasure light world, and the two sides collided fiercely. The golden light of the Permitha Bridge shone brightly, instantly turning into a golden world, blocking the emerald world of treasure light. The surrounding void suddenly turned golden green, neither giving way to the other. The world before him was divided into two halves by the golden Permitha Bridge. One side was pure gold, and the other was dark green. It was as if they were two completely different worlds. Zhu Yi stood on the Permitha Golden Bridge and stared at the aquamarine treasure light world. His line of sight moved slowly. The inside and outside of this dark green world was crystal clear, as if it was completely empty, but Dragon King Lu Yen, who was standing within it, felt her heart tremble. because Zhu Yi's gaze was following her every movement. Even though they were separated by the aquamarine treasure light world, Zhu Yi seemed to be able to lock onto her position. The Permitha bridge suddenly shook, and the golden light became more and more dazzling, continuously pressuring the aquamarine treasure light world. Previously, this aquamarine treasure light world was devouring the world, but now it started to retreat continuously under the pressure of the Permitha bridge. The emerald light was being worn down bit by bit, and it shattered in the void. This light was condensed from the Jade Dragon clan's innate divine ability, the Jade Dragon Flame. Wherever the aquamarine treasure light world shrouded, it was like a world of forbidden spells, dissolving the opponent's divine ability and magic power into nothingness. The opponent's divine ability would be destroyed by the emerald light before they could even activate it. However, at this moment, under the pressure of the Permitha bridge, the emerald light was dissolving continuously, and it was difficult for it to continue. The majestic bridge seemed to be leading all living beings in the world to transcend the sea of bitterness and reach the other side. No matter how many obstacles there were, they could not stop this continuous advancement. The Blue Sky Dragon King let out a long roar. As a member of the Dragon Clan, he was extremely powerful, but he was still one step away from achieving the Dharma-ending realm. Facing the creation treasure, the Permitha bridge, with just his divine ability and demonic power, he was still inferior. Within the green auspicious clouds in the aquamarine treasure light world, a huge figure flashed, and it was faintly discernible. Vigorous demonic power and majestic chi and blood were released at the same time, causing the aquamarine treasure light world to suddenly freeze, and it instantly became indestructible, blocking the Permitha bridge. This was the Blue Sky Dragon King revealing his true form to fight against Zhu Yi and the Permitha bridge. The Jade Dragon clan was not known for their physical strength, but after revealing his true form, the power of his divine ability instantly increased tremendously. After blocking the Permitha bridge's advancement, the aquamarine treasure light world even started to attack. The extremely condensed radiance gradually became sharp, and it was filled with offensive power. The aquamarine treasure light world became distorted, and it gradually transformed into the shape of a dragon, roaring as it swept towards the Permitha bridge. Zhu Yi looked at this scene and said calmly, "Good, as expected of a great demon of the Dragon Clan who is about to complete the first calamity. Golden Rock Great Sage has fallen, and after Zhu Yin Great Sage and your Dragon King Huang Shen have entered the Dharma-ending realm, I'm afraid only White Tiger Great Sage can fight you among the demons below the Dharma-ending realm. However, I wonder who among the Yudu race is stronger, Yudu who is going through the first calamity, or you." As Zhu Yi spoke, his hands didn't stop. He put his spells together, an indescribable radiance blessed the Permitha bridge. On the Permitha golden bridge, purple smoke suddenly appeared around the golden light. A huge spirit turtle, a virtuous qilin, a noble phoenix, and a majestic azure dragon appeared on the golden bridge. Seeing the dragon shadow, the aquamarine treasure light world instantly let out a long roar that shook the 9 heavens. The expression on Zhu Yi's face didn't change at all. His left hand slapped the Permitha bridge, and his right hand stretched out horizontally with his 5 fingers spread out. The 4 spirits formed by the magic power of the light shadow instantly transformed into 4 huge pillars of light. With the blessing of the Permitha bridge, they gradually formed a huge halo. The true meaning of heavenly cycle perfection was undoubtedly revealed. The 4 symbols' great heavenly cycle formation was erected, and the 5 fingers of Zhu Yi's right hand suddenly clenched tightly. The dazzling heavenly cycle revolution merged with the golden light of the Permitha bridge, and it suddenly distorted. Heavenly cycle great destruction. A powerful force that seemed to want to destroy the entire heavenly cycle burst forth, and merged with the light of the Permitha bridge. It blasted towards the aquamarine dragon that was entangling him. The aura of the golden bridge of the Permitha realm suddenly changed. It was still the concept of power that led the forces of heaven and earth to move forward, but its style suddenly became much more domineering. It was like a surging long river and a great tide, completely crushing everything in its way. The vast and boundless force shook the aquamarine dragon that was entangling him continuously. Streaks of green light dissipated in the air. Before the Blue Sky Dragon King could make his next move, Zhu Yi's second wave of attack had already arrived. His aura increased even more, and it was suffocating. His left hand was still pressed on the Permitha bridge. Zhu Yi's right hand's 5 fingers spread out again, and he raised it high into the sky. The entire sky shook, and it was as if an illusory crack had opened up. In the dark starry sky, the gold Venus star, the wood Jupiter star, the water celestial star, the fire celestial star, and the earth celestial star were flashing together. The light became more and more dazzling, and it was as if they were going to fall from the sky at any time. The platinum lightning that was like a sword light that could cut through heaven and earth. The towering willow tree that had lush leaves and rich life energy. It was like an ice hell, an endless chilly air gathered. The crimson-red fire wheel that was constantly spinning. The black rocks were exposed, and the craggy cliffs were like an eternal divine mountain that could support the sky. The 5 great phenomena appeared above the 5 fingers of Zhu Yi's right hand, and they resonated with the 5 stars in the sky, guiding the power of the stars to descend. This was the ancient heavenly gate's great universal 7 planets true technique. Now it had reappeared in Zhu Yi's hands. Zhu Yi didn't use this to attack the blue sky dragon king. Instead, he guided the power of the 5 stars to the Permitha bridge. With the support of the majestic power of the stars, the Permitha bridge became even bigger. The power of the 5 stars was formed by the 5 elements, and they continuously enhanced each other. It was as if there was no end to it. Although Zhu Yi's supernatural power was far beyond that of ordinary cultivators in the primordial spirit transformation realm, there was still a limit to how much power he could bear. However, the creation Dharma treasure, the Permitha bridge, guided the power of the stars, and it seemed to be able to absorb as much power as it could. The Permitha bridge, which was flashing with 5-colored starlight, suddenly spun in the sky. The domineering power directly shattered the jade green light dragon that was wrapped around it into a few pieces. When the light dissipated, the blue sky dragon king let out a muffled groan, and suddenly stretched out his claw. He didn't grab the Permitha bridge, but the flame-flowing dragon king. The jade green light dragon broke apart and gradually turned into a stream of light, revealing the flame-flowing dragon king, who had been hiding inside. The Permitha bridge immediately exerted force for the 3rd time, and rushed toward the flame-flowing dragon king. The blue sky dragon king and the flame-flowing dragon king's expressions changed at the same time. The blue sky dragon king let out a long roar, and his huge dragon head stretched out from the jade green clouds. He opened his mouth and spewed out an intense green light at the Permitha bridge. The color was almost black. The flame-flowing dragon king also revealed his true form. He turned into a line of fire and tried to escape. Where do you think you're going? Zhu Yi put his palms together, and his primordial spirit left his human form, and turned into a Tai Chi diagram that covered the sky. Endless light and dark words surged and finally formed a huge and mysterious word above the Tai Chi diagram. E. The Tai Chi diagram landed on the Permitha bridge, and the majestic golden bridge suddenly changed in the endless golden light. It turned into an indomitable giant. Its feet stepped on the ground, and its head smashed through the sky, tearing the void. This giant's appearance was similar to Zhu Yi's. It was majestic, and its clothes fluttered in the wind. Its whole body was shrouded in golden light, and it was like a god descending from the heavens. The 7 halos above its head shone brightly, illuminating the heaven and earth. The giant raised one arm and blocked in front of him, blocking the dark green light that the blue sky dragon king had spewed out. His other hand directly grabbed the flame-flowing dragon king. The mighty flame dragon was like a grass snake in the giant's hand. The blue sky dragon king and the flame-flowing dragon king roared in anger. The golden giant's expression was calm, and it spoke in the human language. It was Zhu Yi's voice. True dragons can change their size. When they are big, they can soar into the sky, and when they are small, they can hide in their caves. But now that you're caught by me, can you still fly and transform? Chapter 1177. The giant formed by the Permitha bridge stood between heaven and earth and grabbed Dragon King Lu Yen with one hand. On the other side, the blue sky Dragon King was enraged. He opened his mouth and spat out a dark green light. The giant raised his arm to block in front of him. When the dark green light landed on the giant's arm, the golden light immediately dimmed. The dark green light turned into a dark green flame that silently burned and corroded the giant's body. Flowing Flame Dragon King, who was caught, struggled even more fiercely. Violent crimson dragon flames soared into the sky and spread across the giant's hand. Lines of fire extended to the golden giant's body. These lines of fire intersected and mixed together, gradually forming a fire net. As the fire net twisted and turned, it gradually formed a domain. This domain was filled with flames and was completely made up of dragon fire. There were bright stars that undulated in this domain. The starlight and the flames fused together, causing the outer layer of the flames to be coated with a layer of misty light. This world domain was much more terrifying than the sea of flames formed by Dragon King Flowing Flame's dragon pressure. It was formed by Dragon King Flowing Flame, using her monster chi to the fullest after transforming into her true form. The violent world of fire swallowed the sky. It was like a giant beast with its mouth wide open, wanting to swallow the golden giant whole. A large number of runes formed by flames danced in the void and gathered together. It was like an impenetrable and indestructible wall of fire. However, even though the golden giant allowed the flames to engulf him, he didn't react at all. It was as if he was allowing the flames to burn him. If one looked closely, they would see that the giant's body was covered in light. The light kept the flames at bay, so the flames couldn't touch him at all. From the outside, the golden giant's body looked like it was covered in flames, but in reality, it was completely unharmed. Dragon King Liu Yin knew that he couldn't do anything to Zhu Yi and the Permitha Bridge. He was trying his best to fight for an opportunity for the Blue Sky Dragon King. Only the Blue Sky Dragon King could save him. On the other side of the void, the Blue Sky Dragon King roared and spat out beams of dark green light. The color of the light became darker and darker, until it was almost completely black. You're only one step away from the Dharma-ending realm. Not counting the power of the Dharma-ending tribulation, you can fight against the human tribe's experts in the Dharma-ending realm if you reveal your true form. Against my golden bridge of creation, we can only know who will win and who will lose if we fight to the death. The giant spoke with a steady and grand voice, and it was like a resounding bell that reverberated through the heavens and the earth. But I want to kill this flame dragon, and you want to save him. You can't do that. At most, you can injure me a little while I'm killing him. The Blue Sky Dragon King's eyes were cold. The dark green light he spat out converged and surged toward Zhu Yi like a tsunami. The void collapsed and was destroyed. Under the destructive power of the Azure Jade Dragon Flame, not only the Dharma power of cultivators, but also all the primordial chi and existence in the heavens and the earth were destroyed. Zhu Yi changed the topic, but whether or not you can take advantage of this opportunity to injure me will depend on how capable you are. As he spoke, he suddenly wrote in the void with his empty hand. A huge word appeared. When the word appeared, the entire heavens and the earth changed. With the Blue Sky Dragon King's cultivation and eyesight, he immediately saw the endless primordial chi of heaven and earth converging toward the palm of the giant formed by Zhu Yi and the Permitha Bridge like rivers flowing into the sea. It was like a torrential human Tao force, and everyone's hope was in line. The golden giant suddenly produced 3 seals consecutively. They merged into one and became one with the vibrating force of the heavens and the earth. It was as if it had infinite power. The first seal was a huge swastika seal in the giant's palm. It was motionless and eternal, as if it contained all the Dharma and the foundation of all the elements. The second seal was between the palm and the sky above his head. The 28 constellations shook together like a storm, and a large amount of starlight was gathered. The third seal landed, and the chaos was broken. The dragon, phoenix, turtle, and Kiran, the 4 spirits, appeared again. Power poured down, and the 4 elements of earth, water, fire, and wind went berserk. Endless power was created and then destroyed. Zhu Yi was not good at physical body martial arts, but after his primordial spirit merged with the golden bridge of the Permitha realm, he transformed into this indomitable giant, and the golden bridge of the Permitha realm, the treasure of creation that had survived thousands of disasters, was his body. At this moment, the golden giant activated the 3 boundless Dharma seals and punched. The power was so strong that it seemed like it could destroy the world. Even a top-notch demon like the Blue Sky Dragon King did not dare to use his own body to block this punch. Otherwise, his bones and tendons would be broken immediately. The Blue Sky Dragon King's eyes flashed with anger. Under his control, the dark green wave of light that was attacking Zhu Yi had to retract and condense into a dark green crystal on the side of the rock. The dark green crystal was so condensed that it was like a black hole. It pulled the surrounding world toward its center. In the center of the crystal, bright starlight rose, illuminating the inside and outside of the crystal. However, the ink-like color was even deeper. It was like a huge dark green star had descended on infinite wilderness vast land. This dark green star helped the Blue Sky Dragon King block Zhu Yi's extremely terrifying punch. However, the Blue Sky Dragon King's face became even more gloomy. Just because his advance was blocked by Zhu Yi, he could not save Flame Dragon King. The other half of the golden giant's body was engulfed by the flashing starlight, but it did not seem to feel it at all. The hand that grabbed Flame Dragon King's body kept increasing in strength. The huge flame dragon let out a series of painful groans. Low muffled sounds came from all over its body. The sound was not ear-piercing, but it seemed to ring in everyone's heart and soul. That sound was like stars being forcefully crushed by the giant formed by the Permitha Bridge. The stars were destroyed, and the world shook. After forcing the Blue Sky Dragon King back, the golden giant's body shone with golden light. Clouds of mist appeared, and light and dark characters appeared. Purple clouds appeared on its huge body. Roar! Flame Dragon King Lu Yin let out a pained roar, but before her roar could reach its peak, it was as if someone had forcibly stopped her from speaking. The huge dragon body exploded, turning into countless streams of fire and corpses that fell to the ground. The desolate heavenland, which was already scorched for thousands of miles, turned into a sea of fire at this moment. The thick earth and the undulating mountains were instantly turned into nothingness by the raging fire. A furious roar suddenly resounded in the distance. In an instant, a golden auspicious cloud had already shrouded the heavens and the earth. It was the Kunlun Dragon King who had used his dragon might and auspicious cloud to teleport through time and space. He had brought the spatial domain and the immortal dragon city here. He had the absolute upper hand in the battle against the immortal dragon city. It was up to him to decide whether to fight or leave. Emperor Qin Stonefeather could not stop him. But there was still a slight delay on the way. When he arrived, Flame Dragon King had already been killed by Zhu Yi's Permitha Golden Bridge. Violent dragon roars resounded through the sky. The Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King roared together. The sky was completely torn open, and thousands of stars twinkled, as if they were going to fall like a meteor shower. After Ancestral Crocodile Great Sage, this was the second Dragon King of the Dragon Race with the Star Soul Unification Realm to die in the hands of Xianmen Tianzong. This was the second Dragon Race Master Level Expert. The Golden Giant stood between heaven and earth, and looked at the golden auspicious cloud and green auspicious cloud in front of him. His expression was solemn, but he was still calm. Emperor Qin Stonefeather stood on the immortal dragon city, with a solemn expression as well. His great Qin dynasty had suffered heavy losses this time. Although Zhu Yi had come to help, the situation was still not optimistic. Zhu Yi had made the first move. As soon as he arrived, he forcefully resisted the Blue Sky Dragon King's attack and killed Flame Dragon King, stopping the human race from collapsing. However, the Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King were still extremely powerful together. The Immortal Dragon City and the Permitha Golden Bridge could not win. What made Emperor Qin Stonefeather's heart heavy was that after the initial anger, it was hard to say whether the dragon race experts would hate Zhu Yi or him more after they calmed down. To the dragon race, every moment that the Immortal Dragon City existed made their demonic souls feel extremely humiliated and stinging pain. With the Permitha Golden Bridge as his body, Zhu Yi turned into the Golden Giant and said, "Your Majesty Qin, sorry for offending you." With that, the Golden Giant leaped up and landed on the Immortal Dragon City. Stonefeather didn't stand on ceremony. As his hands changed hand seals, red, black, white, green, and yellow lights shone down. They were like light dragons that intertwined to form a golden dragon shadow that strengthened the Immortal Dragon City. The mysterious and graceful light on the immortal dragon city extended to the golden giant that Zhu Yi had turned into, making his already huge body even more mysterious and vast. Zhu Yi's heart moved. I remember that your Majesty Qin once obtained the incomplete 9-glory sky-shattering formation. I wonder if you refined it in the immortal dragon city? Stonefeather didn't say anything. He formed hand seals, and spots of light flickered on the city wall, drawing the radiance of the 9-glory sky-shattering formation. During the battle in the cloudy forest world, Emperor Qin Stonefeather had also snatched a portion of the 9-glory sky-shattering formation. He refined the incomplete formation into the immortal dragon city. Although it couldn't shake the 9-glory sky-shattering formation like the 9-glory sky-shattering formation, it could still draw star power into the body and become one of the driving forces of the immortal dragon city. Upon seeing this, Zhu Yi extended his golden giant palm towards his head, causing the starry sky to tremble. The gold element Venus, wood element Jupiter, water element Chen element, fire element Mars element, and earth element Town element became even more dazzling. Above the immortal dragon city, there was also the 5 elements light shadow that appeared. Both sides resonated with each other, and the power of the stars was guided down to a greater extent. It strengthened the power of the Permitha Bridge and the immortal dragon city to fight against the Kuan Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King. Both sides completely broke away from the world of infinite wasteland and started a huge battle in the void. The stars were destroyed, and chaos was shattered. Emperor Qin Stonefeather's eyes kept flickering. Suddenly his palm reached out in the void. As light flickered, a light orb appeared in his palm. In the light orb, a lady in a yellow shirt sat cross-legged with her eyes closed. She seemed to be unaware of the outside world. It was Shixingyun. Stonefeather was expressionless. He waved his hand, and the light orb that enveloped Shixingyun landed on the immortal dragon city and merged into the city wall. Chapter 1178. Zhu Yi, the Kuan Dragon King, and the Blue Sky Dragon King focused their attention on Emperor Qin Shiryu. Golden light flickered in the Kuan Dragon King's eyes as if they had solidified. He stared at the light sphere that contained Shixingyun. After a moment his expression changed. The soul wave. Is it the reincarnation of the ancestor's remnant soul? Shixingyun opened her eyes at this moment. She looked calm, but she couldn't move her body in the light sphere. Her spiritual power was also restricted. The light sphere that contained her slowly sank into the city wall of the immortal dragon city. Shixingyun didn't feel any discomfort. Being enveloped by the light of the immortal dragon city was both familiar and strange to her. However, amidst this strange feeling, Shixingyun's body began to gradually disintegrate. His entire body turned into light and began to lose its physical form. The projection of a girl who looked to be 15 or 16 years old appeared. Her facial features were exactly what Shixingyun looked like when she was 15 or 16 years old. It was her Yuanying. Apart from that, there was also a giant with 5 dragons of red, green, yellow, white and black. That was Shixingyun's heaven and earth dharma idol after cultivating the 5 emperor true dragons. However, these were not the most eye-catching things. What caught Zhu Yi, the Kuan Dragon King, and the Blue Sky Dragon King's attention was the ball of light hovering above Shixingyun's Yuanying head. A clear and sonorous dragon roar was heard. What appeared in front of everyone was a dragon soul. Above the dragon soul, there were faint glowing auspicious clouds. Just like the dragon soul, the auspicious clouds looked illusory and unreal. However, the majestic feeling that it gave off was shocking. Different from the auspicious clouds formed by the Blue Sky Dragon King and the Flame Stream Dragon Queen, this dragon soul was surrounded by the auspicious clouds that were pure gold like the Kuan Dragon Kings. The auspicious clouds that belonged to a pure-blooded primordial heavenly dragon. Zhu Yi looked at this scene expressionlessly. For example, the Jade Dragon Clan, Fire Dragon Clan, and other dragon clans have to ascend to the Dharma declining realm before they can attain the true body of the primordial sky dragon. There has been no exception since ancient times. The only special case is that in the primeval epoch, the primogenitor of the dragon race, the primogenitor dragon extinction and the ancestor dragon one, gave birth to a heavenly dragon body at birth. the first dragon, and was also known as the first dragon Xianshang. The later generations were used to calling him the ultimate sovereign Xianshang. As for the ancestral dragon Wei, it was Xianshang's wife, the other ancestor of the dragon tribe, ancestral dragon Songning. Ever since ancestral dragon Songning died, those who were born as heavenly dragons no longer exist. Zhu Yi stared at the dragon soul that Shi Xingyun had transformed into. Although this dragon soul has a strong foundation, it's definitely not from the dragon clan in the Dharma-ending realm. However, it's a primordial celestial dragon. As expected, it's the bloodline of the primogenitor, ere long. It's the reincarnation of the demon soul. Zhu Yi had personally witnessed Shi Xingyun manifesting the soul of the ancient heavenly dragon during the Desolate Sea Assembly. However, he did not pay much attention to it at that time. After all, the Great Qin dynasty had occupied the ancient heavenly dragon domain, the earliest settlement of the dragon clan in the past. Although the probability of there being a remnant soul of the ancient heavenly dragon was low, it was not impossible. However, now that the dragon soul was completely revealed, he could clearly feel that something was different. Although it was the reincarnation of a demon soul, it was only a remnant soul, and not a complete dragon soul. However, after being nourished by the human body over the years, it had gradually grown stronger. As Shi Xingyun's dragon soul, Yuanying, and the universal Dharma idol fused with the immortal dragon city, both she and the immortal dragon city trembled slightly. As the immortal dragon city moved, it actually looked more and more like a giant dragon. The bricks seemed to have turned into dragon scales. The city walls and the dragon's body flickered continuously in the light. A cry came from the immortal dragon city, as if a true dragon was growling softly. The Kunlun Dragon King suddenly let out a furious roar. "You're the reincarnation of Ancestor Jin King's remnant soul?" The Jin Dragon King, also known as Heavenly Dragon Jin, was the last child born between Ancestor Dragon Xianshang and Ancestral Dragon Songning. When Ancestral Dragon Songning was about to give birth, he was besieged and killed by the first sacred emperor of the human clan, Shi Huang. Before Ancestral Dragon Songning died, he sent his young daughter Heavenly Dragon Jin away. Later on, Absolute Emperor Xianshang was enraged and massacred the common people. Even the first sacred emperor of the human clan, Shi Huang, died at his hands. Because Heavenly Dragon Jin was born prematurely, her body was weak. She relied on her father, Absolute Emperor Xianshang, to take care of her. However, in the Great War with the human clan, she also died due to severe injuries. Apart from Heavenly Dragon Jin, the other dragons who were related to the two dragons also died during the long years of the Immemorial Era and the Ancient Era. However, because Dragon King Jin was born before Ancestral Dragon Songning died, the connection between her and Ancestral Dragon Songning was the most mysterious. However, no one would have thought that Dragon King Jin, who had died many years ago, still had a remnant soul left in the world. Qin Emperor Stonefeather calmly looked at Zhu Yi and said indifferently, 100 years ago, I found this remnant soul in a foreign dimension. I took it out and sealed it with a secret technique. The immortal dragon city is no longer the remains of ancestral dragon Songning. Although the effects of using a dragon soul to refine it are quite good, if it can be reincarnated as a human and cultivate into a human primordial spirit, the human race's Yuanying will fuse with the dragon soul and refine it again. It will be far more effective than a pure dragon soul. Therefore, I erased her memories and reincarnated her as a human to cultivate. She herself only thought that it was a pure dragon soul reincarnation, but she didn't know that it was connected to the immortal dragon city. Stonefeather looked at Shi Xingyun, who was gradually merging with the immortal dragon city. However, there are many mysteries when a dragon soul reincarnates as a human, so I can't completely see through the minute changes in her soul. Now, it seems that you've already recovered your memories? The primordial heavenly dragon spoke in the human language. It hasn't been too long. Stonefeather said, I originally wanted to refine it after you formed a primordial spirit, but the situation is urgent now, so I can only do it in advance. Although the effects will be lower than expected, it's good enough to solve the current crisis. Shi Xingyun's expression was calm. When Stonefeather urgently summoned her to Infinite Mainland, She already had a bad feeling. However, Qin Emperor Stonefeather had already arranged everything. With the Great Qin Dynasty's Void Return stage experts escorting her, she was actually being escorted. She was powerless to resist. Although Stonefeather couldn't completely see through the changes in her soul, her external actions and every move she made were all within Stonefeather's control from beginning to end. She was still a Yuanian cultivator after all. Her noble status stemmed from her identity as a member of the Great Qin Dynasty's royal family. At this moment, her bad feeling had completely come true. Slowly, Stonefeather said, "If you were the ancestral dragon Songming's soul, doing this might allow you to reincarnate into someone else's body. However, it won't be a problem for Tianlongjin. After all, there's a layer between us." The Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King glared at Qin Emperor Stonefeather and roared in unison. Violent dragon might swept through the void and pressed down on Qin Emperor Stonefeather. Stonefeather looked at them with a calm expression. "If you hadn't forced me, I could have waited for the time to be ripe. Only then would I have succeeded. Immortal Dragon City would have surpassed the Grand Imperial Palace and become the human emperor's #1 treasure. There would also be more potential for development in the future. Although it's not perfect now, it's enough to deal with the situation you've caused." Stonefeather's hands changed hand seals. As the Immortal Dragon City shook, a large number of talismans turned into streams of light and fused into the great wall beneath his feet. The dragon shadows gradually disappeared, and the city walls became thicker and more majestic. A powerful aura spread out from within, and the entire Immortal Dragon City was shining brightly. Aside from the immovable, eternal, and indestructible state of power that protected everything, there was also a majestic air of a sovereign, as if he was the ruler of the heavens. Stonefeather no longer looked at the Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King. Instead, he looked at Zhu Yi. He saw that Zhu Yi had fused with the golden Permitha bridge and turned into a golden giant. He also lowered his head and looked at Stonefeather. Today's battle will not end well. Unless the master of the mysterious gate arrives, the outcome will be hard to predict, Stonefeather said slowly. Stonefeather said slowly, "I know that you have a close relationship with Xingyan Zhu Yi. However, from the moment she reincarnated as a human, all of this was already decided. It is also the fate of my Great Qin nation. She has recovered her memories, but she has been hiding. Other than the fact that the situation has always been under my control, StarCloud also has the intention to refine the Immortal Dragon City again and reconstruct herself as the ancestor mother dragon Songning. The rebirth of the ancestor dragon is no small matter. Zhu Yi, you have always been reasonable. You should know what is more important." After saying that, Stonefeather did not say anything more. Everything was decided by Zhu Yi. As his hands changed hand seals, a 5-colored light dragon gathered in front of him and gradually condensed into a golden Dao fruit. This golden Dao fruit also descended and sank into the Immortal Dragon City. Zhu Yi's gaze was solemn. No one knew what he was thinking. Meanwhile, the Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King were completely enraged. They attacked Zhu Yi and Stonefeather. The two sides fought. They left Infinite Wasteland and fought in the endless void. At this moment, there were auspicious clouds streaking across the sky above Infinite Wasteland. Among those auspicious clouds, some were full of raging flames, and some were overflowing with lightning. They seemed to be floating in the sky like clouds, but in fact, they were extremely fast like flowing lights. On the ground, there were a few human cultivators who had just escaped from the flame-flowing Dragon King's world of flames. They were running for their lives toward the realm passageway that led to the Divine Land. Most of these cultivators were Yuanian stage cultivators. They could break through space and travel. However, compared to the powerful cultivators of the Dragon Tribe who had attained the indestructible Demon Soul, or the primordial True Spirit stage, their speed was much slower. Auspicious clouds flew across the sky and stopped in front of them. The dragon might and auspicious clouds that covered the sky belonged to the powerful cultivators of the Dragon Tribe, who were at the Dragon King level. However, these Dragon Kings did not stop. Instead, they continued forward toward the entrance of the realm passageway between the two worlds. There, the Dragon King Ho Ning of the Dragon Tribe was engaged in a fierce battle with the Great Qin Dynasty's Gunyang King Shizongmao, as well as the cultivators of the Great Qin Dynasty, who were guarding the entrance of the realm passageway. The Fang Dragon King and the other Dragon Tribe powerful beings also felt a sense of unease as they sensed that human reinforcements had arrived. Moreover, these were powerful beings who had transcended the Dao integration stage. Although Jagged Dragon King and the others were worried, they did not turn back. Instead, they continued towards Tranquil Dragon King's battlefield. That was where they would be useful. However, before the surviving human cultivators could heave a sigh of relief, a Demon King Realm Dragon race powerhouse who had formed his nascent soul stayed behind and blocked their way. Unlike these human cultivators who had just escaped from a perilous situation, these dragon cultivators were completely in the middle of recuperating and building up their strength, and there were many of them. In the face of such an opponent, the human cultivators fell into despair once again, even without the Dragon King with the undying demon soul. A sky-shaking dragon roar resounded through the sky, as if announcing the beginning of another bloody massacre. Chapter 1179. The sky above them suddenly turned dark and gloomy. The auspicious clouds that used to cover the surroundings now looked like the end of the world. Long dragons descended from the clouds, instantly bringing about a bloody storm. Among the few remaining cultivators of the purple cloud path, a tall girl gritted her teeth and stared at the powerful dragon demon in front of her with hatred. She was only at the late stage of the golden elixir realm. Facing a dragon that had formed a demon infant, she seemed weak. However, there was no fear on her face. "Master, madam, I've failed to live up to your sacrifice. However, I'm not afraid of death. I just want to see if I can drag a demon dragon to the grave with me. After I die, I can say that I didn't embarrass you." With that thought, a dazzling lightning suddenly erupted from the girl's body. Her entire body seemed to turn into light, turning into a human figure made of lightning. It was the mystical ability of the purple cloud path that Gu Lei had used previously, the absolute lightning combat body. It implied that one would fight with their life when in a desperate situation. The user would greatly increase their mystical ability and dermic powers within a short period of time. However, they would injure themselves before injuring the enemy. It would be a huge burden on themselves and might even lead to death. The gazes of the cultivators of the purple cloud path beside her also became determined. In an instant, the few remaining cultivators lit up with lightning. Their bodies turned into light, ready to fight to the death with their opponents. Their bravery and unyielding spirit also encouraged the cultivators of the Great Qin Dynasty beside them. For those who could cultivate to the Yuanying realm or the Golden Elixir period, even death could not easily shake the minds of these cultivators. The pure despair of not being able to see any future, and the unwillingness to be devoured by the demon race were the greatest pressure in their hearts. At that moment, there was no way to retreat. The group of human cultivators was also stimulated. They simply did not consider escaping. Instead, they unleashed all their abilities and techniques to fight to the death with the dragon demon. At that moment, the void suddenly opened, and a greenish-black light descended from the sky like a meteor falling to the ground. The black light streaked across the sky and immediately tore apart the dragon might and auspicious clouds that filled the sky. It fell into the group of demon dragons. Wherever it passed, blood splattered, and it directly rained down on the ground. Shattered dragon scales, severed body parts, dragon claws, and dragon tail exploded together. The sudden change shocked everyone. Time seemed to have stopped at that moment. A magnificent yet tragic scene appeared in the void. As dragon blood splattered, the broken limbs of many demon dragons danced in the rain of blood. One of the fire dragons was the most miserable. It was struck by the black light in the waist, and its body was instantly split into two, causing blood to splatter. When the black light dissipated, a young woman dressed in purple appeared in the midst of the demonic dragons. She held a dark green halberd in her hand. It was extremely ferocious, as if it wanted to destroy everything. His crimson long hair spread out and fluttered in the wind like flames, but under such circumstances, it seemed as if it was stained with blood, making one's heart palpitate. In the sky of the blood rain, It was unclear whether the dragon blood or the color of the woman was more striking. The surviving human cultivators also stared blankly at this scene, unable to react for a moment. It was not until the red-haired woman's figure flashed, and in the blink of an eye, she moved in front of another demon dragon. The jet-black halberd in her hand drew a semicircle, directly chopping off the demon dragon's huge head. Everyone was shocked. Looking at the woman's dermic power and aura, it was not like the primordial soul realm experts who were one with heaven and earth. She was only at the yuanying stage, but she was able to kill a demon dragon so easily. Everyone was shocked. The woman's speed was too fast. She shuttled through the void, making it impossible to see her movements and appearance. However, the cultivators of the Great Qin dynasty and Purple Cloud Path quickly recognized her. She was the fourth disciple of the master of the Celestial Gate, Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan specialized in martial arts. At that moment, the power of his physical body and qi exploded, as if the sun in the sky had descended to the ground. He was even stronger than the great demon dragon of the same realm. She was a woman and had a yin physique, so it was not as convenient for her to cultivate the masculine martial arts as a man. However, Yu Hongyan, who was in the late yuanying stage, had the strength of his physical body and qi. In the entire world, he could be said to be second to none among those below the primordial soul realm. Yu Hongyan did not seal the space, but with the instantaneous explosive power of her physical body, her short-distance sprinting speed was something that many primordial soul realm experts could not match. With a step, she broke through the void and instantly appeared in front of a demon dragon. Her speed was so fast that the demon dragon that had formed a demon infant, and was also proficient in the transformation of space, had no time to dodge. They could only face Yu Hongyan's ferocious attack head-on. The army destroyer monarch halberd in his hand carried the true meaning of martial arts of Yu Hongyan. With a swing, it split the sky and split the sea, sweeping everything in its path. The place where the great demons of the dragon race were about to slaughter the human cultivators had now become the dragon race's Shiraba. Corpses were strewn everywhere. Yu Hongyan's figure flashed, and the army destroyer monarch halberd slashed through the void, directly splitting the huge body of a yellow dragon in half. She did not retract her halberd. With a flip of her left hand, she slammed her palm down towards a brontosaurus. The brontosaurus roared and controlled the eight desolations' godly thunder to attack Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan did not even raise an eyebrow, and allowed the lightning to fall on her body. As the acupoints on her body opened and closed, it was as if stars were flashing. She actually directly converted the lightning into lightning essence and absorbed it. And that seemingly powerless palm of hers, which was as white as jade, fell with a force that could collapse the heavens, directly smashing the head of the brontosaurus into pieces. Yu Hongyan retracted her palm. There was not a single drop of blood on her skin, and there was not a single trace of blood on her body. But the sharp murderous aura she exuded still made everyone's hearts tremble. Even the human cultivators, although they knew that they had already escaped from danger and were saved, felt their hearts palpitate. This red-haired woman in front of them was even more ferocious and terrifying than a great demon of the dragon clan. Yu Hongyan's gaze swept across the people of the Purple Firmament sect. When his gaze fell on the young girl who was only in the golden elixir period, he could not help but be slightly stunned. Is that Xiaolan? The lightning around the young girl's body gradually dissipated, revealing her original appearance. Her face was pale without a trace of blood, and her aura was weak. This was the side effect of using the absolute thunder combat physique. She looked at Yu Hongyan, and her tensed heartstrings finally relaxed a little. The resolute look on her face faded, and tears flowed uncontrollably from her eyes. You, Martial Uncle Yu, Master and Master's wife, they have all been killed. The young girl was Gu Lei's disciple, Feng Xiaolan. Yu Hongyan had met her before. Gu Lei and Li Kueyin were husband and wife. Yu Hongyan had long known them through Zhu Yi and Shi Tianhao. They naturally had a friendship, especially with Li Kueyin. They were very close. When her gaze swept across the people of the Purple Firmament sect, her heart sank when she did not see Gu Lei and Li Kueyin. Now that she had received the news from Feng Xiaolan, her vision could not help but turn slightly dark. In the blink of an eye, Yu Hongyan's eyes seemed to have set off a monstrous fire. A pair of long red eyebrows were raised, like thin swords dripping with blood. The heavens and the earth where everyone was instantly deathly silent, and monstrous killing intent terrified everyone to the point they went silent like cicadas in the winter. Yu Hongyan did not look at the remaining demon dragons. Instead, he suddenly turned his head to look at the distant horizon. There, the void suddenly opened, and a large amount of blazing fire emerged, instantly covering half of the sky, turning the world into a sea of fire. A fiery red auspicious cloud appeared in the sea of fire, exuding a heavy majesty. Within the fiery red auspicious cloud, a long red dragon was faintly discernible. The dragon's head could only be seen, but not its tail. Yu Hongyan's gaze was cold. A primordial true spirit realm flame dragon? A voice came from the fiery red auspicious cloud. You dare to slaughter my people. Don't even think of leaving this place alive. It was the Fang's Dragon King. Previously, he and the other Dragon Kings had ignored Feng Xiaolan and the others. Instead, they had rushed forward to help Dragon King Ning, who was fighting against the reinforcements of the Great Qin led by Shizong Mao. However, after sensing a strong magic power fluctuation behind him, and sensing that his people were in danger, the Fang's Dragon King immediately rushed back, coincidentally meeting with Yu Hongyan. A huge red dragon had peeked out from the fiery red auspicious cloud, and stared coldly at Yu Hongyan. I know you. You are the direct disciple of the Xianmen sect master. Your master turned my close friend Qi Ting into a clone and injured my King Kuan and King Jade Sky. You also slaughtered my people. Today, I will use your flesh as a sacrifice for my people. You are just the beginning. As the Fang's Dragon King roared, the fiery red auspicious cloud expanded rapidly. A sea of fire covered the sky and covered Yu Hongyan and the others. Feng Xiaolan stared at the Fang's Dragon King. Although it was just a simple action, she felt like her divine soul was about to shatter, and she was about to die. However, she refused to look away and shouted, Martial Uncle Yu, this is the flame dragon that killed Master and his wife. Yu Hongyan looked at the Fang's Dragon King coldly. He didn't say anything and swung the Army Destroyer King halberd. He used the Astral Wind God Spear. The violent spear aura swept up the 9 formless astral wind, and forcefully tore the sea of fire apart. Xiaolan, you guys leave first. Yu Hongyan sent out a stream of magic power, sweeping up Feng Xiaolan and the other surviving human cultivators, sending them out of the range of the sea of fire and far away. The Fang's Dragon King roared and spat out a line of fire towards Yu Hongyan. After Yu Hongyan sent Feng Xiaolan and the others away, his spear's aura changed. Astral winds turned into bolts of lightning, and thunder roared in the sky. It was as if the void had been torn apart, and a violent force met the Fang's Dragon King's fiery line. The exploding lightning also shattered the fiery line. The line of fire shattered, and a large amount of fire scattered. Even though it was just the scattered dragon fire, it was not something a normal Yuanian cultivator could handle. However, Yu Hongyan had no intention of defending at all. He shook the army vanquisher monarch halberd in the void, and the spear suddenly became light and agile, turning into thousands of spear shadows. In an instant he stabbed out thousands of times, shattering all the balls of fire. At this moment, with a deafening dragon roar, the Fang's Dragon King's body was engulfed in flames and rushed towards Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan's body glowed with purple light, and an armor appeared on her body. Countless fierce runes appeared on the surface of the armor, and a murderous aura filled the air. A hole appeared in the sky, and the 7 killing star and the army destroyer star shone brightly at this moment. The tyrannical star power poured onto Yu Hongyan's body, making the ominous aura around Yu Hongyan even more intense. She waved her spear, and did not have any intention of dodging. She took a few steps and broke through the barrier of space, and attacked the Fang's Dragon King. Chapter 1180. The Fang's Dragon King let out a long roar. Flames burned around his body. As the flames danced, they were like fire dragons that flew in the sky. He was also very experienced in fighting. In just a few rounds of fighting, he could already tell that Yu Hongyan was an expert in physical martial arts. It was not wise to split one's power when fighting such an opponent. Therefore, the fire dragons that flew in the sky did not scatter. Instead, they gathered on the Fang's Dragon King's body. It was as if he had another layer of fire armor on top of his dragon scales. The Fang's Dragon King charged at Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan did not dodge. With the power of the 7-kill star armor, he twisted his body in the air and stabbed the army destroyer Imperial Halberd at the Fang's Dragon King. The tip of the spear sliced through the air. The space instantly shattered and seemed to burn. The two clashed, and the Fang Dragon King's body shook violently. He immediately felt that the late-stage nascent Soul Realm woman in front of him had a shocking amount of chi blood. It was enough to match or even surpass many primordial Soul Realm human martial arts experts. That violent power did not seem to be something that a cultivator below the nascent divinity realm could possess. Even the carrying heaven ant, the primordial black tortoise, and the heaven-reaching devil ape, who were demons that specialized in physical strength, might not be able to match it. The fire dragon race's physical strength was not weak among the dragon races. However, the Fang's Dragon King knew that when he was a late-stage demon king, his blood chi could not compare to this slender girl. The personal disciple of the Celestial Gate Sect Master is indeed extraordinary. Although he was filled with hatred, the Fang's Dragon King did not lose his calm. The disciple of the Celestial Gate Sect Master, Shi Tianhao, is rumored to have severely injured a primordial true spirit state demon in the late-stage Yuanying state. It seems that the rumors are true. In the past, in the Star Ocean, Yu Hongyan, who did not have his current cultivation level, joined forces with Li Yuanfang and Luo Qinggu, who were also not at the late-stage Yuanying cultivation level, to kill the Bloodmane Great Sage, who was at the first level of the indestructible demon soul realm. There were many witnesses, and the news had already spread in Tianhuang mainland. But without witnessing it personally, the demonic beasts could not feel it directly or strongly enough. Now that Toothless Dragon King was personally fighting with Yu Hongyan, they had a clear understanding. His body suddenly shook, and the scales on his body, which were wrapped in flames, kept opening and closing. A majestic aura spread out from his body, and a large amount of scarlet dragon fire surged out. The dragon's originally fiery red body actually became somewhat transparent at this moment. It was as if its entire body was composed of flames, and under the flames, even its bones and veins could be vaguely seen. After testing Yu Hongyan's strength with one move, Toothless Dragon King instantly treated her as an opponent of the same cultivation level as him, and immediately revealed his true form. After revealing his true form, Toothless Dragon King's aura and demonic power instantly surged, and boundless flames swept towards Yu Hongyan. And those dragons who had survived Yu Hongyan's spear due to Toothless Dragon King's arrival also started to fly out of the sea of fire. A cold glint flashed across Yu Hongyan's eyes. Although she had killed more than half of the dragons, Fang Xiaolan and the others had just left. If they caught up to her now, the consequences would be unimaginable. Yu Hongyan waved the army destroyer King Halberd in her hand, and faced the Toothless Dragon King who was pouncing towards her. At the same time, she stepped on the void and suddenly stopped. In that instant, endless power seemed to explode from within Yu Hongyan's body. However, her spear seemed to be forceful when it landed on the Toothless Dragon King's dragon claw, but there were many soft forces hidden within, like the undercurrents of a calm sea. And these undercurrents gathered together in an instant, causing the army destroyer Halberd on the Toothless Dragon King's claw to redirect the Toothless Dragon King's power to the other side. At this time, the power under Yu Hongyan's feet also exploded. Her acupoints all opened and closed, and her entire body seemed to glow like stars. She borrowed the power of Toothless Dragon King's attack to fly backwards, and her speed was even faster than before. Yu Hongyan's steps were like she was stepping on stars. Each step she took was countless, as if millions of stars were flowing in a river of stars. Seeing that his power was being borrowed by Yu Hongyan, Toothless Dragon King knew something was wrong, and immediately chased after Yu Hongyan. However, he had been stopped by Yu Hongyan's spear just now, and his momentum had dropped. If he wanted to chase after Yu Hongyan now, he would inevitably have to start all over again. The fire dragon race was not known for their speed, and Yu Hongyan had even borrowed his strength. As a result, the distance between them was instantly pulled apart. As Toothless Dragon King chased after her, Yu Hongyan had already taken her second step, and the millions of fake shadows were reduced to 28. They were like 28 constellations, and their power gathered together, leaving Toothless Dragon King in the dust. This was Yu Hongyan merging the Astro Sovereign's killer move, star-shifting constellation, into her own martial arts to create such an explosive power. When she took her third step, she had already left Toothless Dragon King behind, and blocked the dragons that were flying out of the sea of fire. Yu Hongyan swung the army breaker imperial halberd, and the explosive power of the third step of star-shifting constellation was transferred into this strike. On top of the red-haired girl's head, a ball of light appeared. It was as if everything was being destroyed, and the void was collapsing. Everything was returning to nothingness, and then it reappeared. A giant with 4 heads and 8 arms could be vaguely seen. This ball of light had completely merged with Yu Hongyan's body. This was a sign that she had merged her dharma with her physical body. The power that could shatter the void was already coming out from her body. With a thrust of her spear, thousands of 9 heaven formless astral wind rushed out, and turned into a spear force that covered the sky, attacking the dragons. The power and speed of martial arts assassination was fully displayed at this moment. In an instant, Yu Hongyan thrust out thousands of spears, and the tip of the spear merged with the 9 heaven formless astral wind. The black and cyan halberd disappeared, and the originally formless astral winds became dazzling at this moment, as if they were rays of flowing light. The streams of light tore the Toothless Dragon King's sea of fire domain apart. As the wind and fire blew, all the dragons present had to bear this storm-like attack. The place where Yu Hongyan stood seemed to have turned into a whirlpool of death, engulfing all the living beings around it. Even the powerful dragons would be smashed into pieces if they were engulfed in this whirlpool of death. These Demon King Realm dragons did not expect that Yu Hongyan would be able to block them while fighting against the Toothless Dragon King. Caught off guard, many of them fell into the whirlpool of death, and were either dead or injured. Some of the demonic dragons were injured all over, and could not move. Yu Hongyan could release and retract his spear force at will. After killing the dragons at first, the storm-like spear force suddenly retracted. All the formless astral winds of the 9 heavens gathered together, and turned into one last spear strike, facing the Fang Dragon King that was chasing after him. The Toothless Dragon King's expression was gloomy. With a long roar, he did not dodge Yu Hongyan's spear force, and directly rushed forward. The dragon horns on his head suddenly thickened, and countless dragon flames gathered between them, forming a crimson ball of light. With this ball of light on his head, he rammed towards Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan was naturally not afraid of this. If the enemy was tough, she would only be tougher, and clash head-on with the enemy's strength. Heaven and earth suddenly turned into a world of raging fire and wind. The sea of fire formed by the Fang Dragon King's dragon aura completely shattered. Even the void of the vast boundless universe outside the divine prefecture collapsed. The Toothless Dragon King's body trembled from the impact, but he forcefully stabilized himself. He suddenly opened his mouth, and immediately spat out a line of fire towards Yu Hongyan. The dragon flames condensed into an extremely thin line, and compared to the Toothless Dragon King's huge body, it was like a spider's silk. But this extremely condensed dragon flames made Yu Hongyan feel a strong sense of danger. Being killed by Yu Hongyan right in front of his own people, the Toothless Dragon King was furious. At the same time, he began to take the opponent in front of him more seriously. That attack just now looked simple, but it fully displayed Yu Hongyan's extraordinary battle talent. It looked wild, but it was actually flawless, and he had taken care of every detail. Against such an opponent, the Toothless Dragon King also used all of his abilities. The clash with Yu Hongyan had caused his blood to boil, and his demonic soul to become unstable. Even so, he suppressed the discomfort, and continued to attack, wanting to gain the upper hand. But what kind of person was Yu Hongyan? Against the Toothless Dragon King's attacks, her reaction was to attack first, and then attack first. Similarly, she forcefully suppressed her own boiling blood, and the fastest star travel lightning spear of the 4-elephant holy spear pierced out like a ray of light. After the first spear, she immediately followed up with another spear, and another spear. The speed of Yu Hongyan's attacks actually became faster and faster, and the consecutive spear strikes were like a chain of lightning. The Toothless Dragon King was shocked, because Yu Hongyan's army destroyer Imperial Halberd had arrived first, and was about to stab into his body first. Roar! The Fang Dragon King was also going all out. Facing Yu Hongyan's army vanquishing Imperial Halberd, he didn't even try to dodge. Instead, he hurriedly activated his own dragon fire and attacked Yu Hongyan. A chain of explosions sounded in the sky, and in just an instant, Yu Hongyan's army destroyer Imperial Halberd had left dozens of bloody holes on the Toothless Dragon King's body. At the same time, the Toothless Dragon King's fire lines exploded on Yu Hongyan's body. The thin fire lines instantly exploded, turning into a boundless sea of fire that swallowed Yu Hongyan. The 7 Kill Star Armor's purple light kept flashing like needles, and it blocked the dragon flames from harming Yu Hongyan. But this treasure was still a spirit-nurturing grade treasure, and Yu Hongyan had yet to form a Yuan Shun. Although it was compatible with Yu Hongyan's blood, it was slowly being suppressed by the dragon flames, and it started to hurt Yu Hongyan's body. But Yu Hongyan's red eyebrows were raised, and it was as if he did not feel the fire on his body at all. He exerted strength in his legs, and his entire body was like a man on fire. He got close to the Toothless Dragon King, and then stabbed out with the army destroyer Imperial Halberd again. Chapter 1181. Yu Hongyan's body was engulfed in flames, and he continued to charge at Toothless Dragon King. The Fang Dragon King was not in good shape either. There were dozens of bloody holes on his body, all caused by Yu Hongyan's army vanquishing Monarch Halberd. Although the army vanquishing Monarch Halberd was a spirit-nurturing level treasure, under Yu Hongyan's full power, even the Fang Dragon King could not take it head-on. Luckily, Yu Hongyan's Starlight Lightning Stalker Spear focused on speed, and Toothless Dragon King had purposely added a layer of dragon fire armor on himself. Otherwise, Yu Hongyan's spear would have pierced through his body. Although the injuries looked terrifying, they were not serious. The Fang Dragon King grunted, and his wounds lit up. These flames covered all of Toothless Dragon King's wounds. Because these wounds were not serious, Toothless Dragon King could use his own demonic power to slowly heal them. His wounds quickly stopped bleeding, and it would not take long for him to completely recover. Just like that, Toothless Dragon King's battle prowess would not be affected too much. The Fang's Dragon King did not let his guard down. Both sides had suffered heavy losses, and he was not satisfied. As he tried to stop his own bleeding, he continued to attack Yu Hongyan. He had already understood Yu Hongyan's aggressiveness and toughness. He knew that while his opponent was a woman, she was tougher than most men. And Yu Hongyan was very good at attacking. He was a classic example of a strong offense but weak defense. He only attacked and did not defend. As a martial artist, if he could control the rhythm of the battle, he would be able to move mountains and seas. He would not stop attacking until he killed his opponent. Once Yu Hongyan had the upper hand, he would continue to suppress his opponent until they could not fight back. They would only be able to barely defend until they died. This was a martial artist that was born to attack. The Fang's Dragon King thought he understood Yu Hongyan well enough, but the truth proved that he had underestimated Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan ignored the flames that were still burning on his body, and had even broken through the defense of the 7 Kills Star Armor. He attacked again. To her, using a certain amount of injuries in exchange for the initiative was something that she did not need to hesitate at all. The Fang's Dragon King's moment of carelessness had allowed Yu Hongyan to gain the upper hand. Instantly, a violent storm of attacks fell upon the Fang Dragon King. The attacks were so concentrated that it was suffocating. The 4-elephant Divine Spear of Heaven Law, the Mighty Thunder Spear, and the Astral Wind Divine Spear were used consecutively by Yu Hongyan. It was as if wind and lightning were howling, suppressing the Fang Dragon King with a barrage of attacks. It was as if thousands of men and horses were charging at the same time, trampling the earth. Even though the Fang Dragon King was a primordial true spirit realm great demon, he was caught off guard. He was at a disadvantage and could only passively defend. He felt extremely sullen, and kept on trying to counterattack, wanting to regain the initiative. But Yu Hongyan's attacks were fast but not chaotic. Between the Mighty Thunder Spear and the Astral Wind Divine Spear, There was also the Star Speed Lightning Divine Spear. She firmly controlled the rhythm and initiative. Her fighting style was to attack aggressively, and she was indeed an expert in this area. Once the rhythm of the attacks were under her control, unless the opponent was much stronger than her, no one would be able to easily take the upper hand from her spear. To Yu Hongyan, she was least afraid of fighting offense against offense. Her favorite opponents were those that were good at defense. No matter how hard an iron walnut was, she had ways to forcefully smash it open. Yu Hongyan's style was tough, but her techniques were flexible. She could be both hard and soft. Against opponents that were good at defense, she could always find a way to break through them. So once the situation was under her control, most of the enemies would be killed by Yu Hongyan's barrage of attacks. Even if they had some special methods or powerful abilities, they would be killed before they could even use them under Yu Hongyan's attacks. At this moment, the Fang Dragon King was feeling this kind of depressed feeling. There were gains and losses in the world, and there was a limit to the ups and downs. The Fang Dragon King firmly believed that Yu Hongyan's attacks could not continue indefinitely, nor could they become stronger and stronger. Therefore, even though he was at a disadvantage, he was not in a hurry. He believed that Yu Hongyan's offensive would eventually fall back, and that would be the time for him to regain the upper hand. Yu Hongyan, on the other hand, must have consumed a lot of his mana and stamina, because he had been attacking nonstop. At that time, once he lost the upper hand, Yu Hongyan would not be able to regain the upper hand. And to Yu Hongyan's fighting style, once she lost the upper hand, she would be suppressed by her opponent. Then the speed of her defeat would be even faster than her opponent. But reality once again gave the Fang Dragon King a merciless blow. Yu Hongyan's attacks were not like a volcano that would explode and then recede. Instead, it was like a never-ending wave. The rise and fall of the tide were her own adjustments. It was always within her control, and she did not give the Fang Dragon King a chance. It looked like the tide was receding, but when the Fang Dragon King tried to regain the upper hand, what welcomed him was a new wave that was even fiercer. Yu Hongyan's attacks were not only fierce and violent, they were also continuous. The Fang Dragon King could not help but suspect that before Yu Hongyan's energy ran out, he would be the first to be heavily injured. As the Fang Dragon King defended against Yu Hongyan's wave after wave of attacks, he stared at her. The dragon fire was still spreading on her body. The dragon fire was also hurting Yu Hongyan. The Fang Dragon King believed that these injuries would definitely affect Yu Hongyan's strength, and cause her aura to fall even faster. This was not something that could be overcome with willpower alone. It was an objective problem. But very quickly, the Fang Dragon King's expression changed. Jade green water suddenly appeared on Yu Hongyan's body. It was extremely clean and extremely pure, and it started to extinguish the dragon fire on her body. Tying true water. The Fang Dragon King's eyes focused, and he immediately recognized the water on Yu Hongyan's body. It was one of the 6 great true waters, Tying true water. Yu Hongyan wanted to gain the upper hand, and was willing to endure the pain of being burned by the fire, and ignore her injuries. Now that she finally gained the upper hand, she used the Tying true water to extinguish the dragon fire on her body, and heal her injuries. Although her injuries could not be healed immediately, and it would still affect her stamina, as long as her injuries did not worsen, Yu Hongyan was confident that she could stab the Fang Dragon King to death first. Seeing this, the Fang Dragon King's eyes turned even colder, but he suddenly had an idea. Although she has cultivated the Tying true water, she has not merged it with her martial path. Therefore, she can only use the Tying true water to extinguish the fire on her body, and cannot use the water to deal any damage to me. There was a difference in cultivation level between them. If he could not merge the Tying true water with his martial path, as well as the army vanquishing Imperial Halberd and the 7-kill star armor, then Yu Hongyan's Tying true water would not be able to suppress the dragon fire around the Fang Dragon King. After realizing this, a strange emblem suddenly appeared on the forehead of the Fang's Dragon King. It was the Fire Dragon tribe's True Spirit God's glyph. As the True Spirit God's glyph flashed, the Fang Dragon King let out a low roar. Originally, the lines of fire were independent of each other, but at this moment, they started to converge and intertwine. The lines of fire intertwined to form a fire net. The fire net curled into a ball and protected the Fang Dragon King within. As the fire flowed, the fire net also moved, blocking Yu Hongyan's spear from all directions. Yu Hongyan's eyes seemed to be burning with fire. She stared at the Fang Dragon King, and her spear suddenly changed to the Star-Speed Lightning God Spear. She stabbed at the surface of the fire net at the fastest speed possible. For a moment, countless jet-black rays of light circulated in the sky, surrounding a huge cocoon-like fiery red sphere, and carrying out an assassination. But as the Fang Dragon King continued to spit out dragon fire, the fire net slowly changed. It started to become a complete film of light, without any gaps. The inside and outside of the light film were like two completely different worlds, isolating Yu Hongyan's attacks. To the Fang Dragon King, this was him temporarily giving up on trying to regain the upper hand, and focusing all his power on defense. No doubt, it was the biggest humiliation for this fiery dragon, who had always been arrogant, to defend like a turtle in its shell. But the primitive true spirit realm Fang Dragon King completely threw away his pride, and focused on defense. Even for Yu Hongyan, who was good at attacking, it was not easy to break through. The Fang Dragon King was expressionless. His eyes were filled with humiliation and anger, but there was even more cold killing intent. As he maintained the Dragon Fire domain, he was also focusing on recovering from his injuries. After enduring this round of attacks from Yu Hongyan, it was time for him to counterattack. Facing this defense, Yu Hongyan suddenly put away her spear and coldly stared at the Dragon Fire domain in front of her. The Army Breaker King halberd in her hands suddenly exerted force. In the next instant, large amounts of lunar true water started to gather at the tip of the spear. Streams of green water revolved around the tip of the spear, slowly forming a giant whirlpool. The water was not stable, and was even continuously falling to the ground. The dark green vortex of water disintegrated twice in a row, before it trembled and reformed. But the Fang Dragon King's expression changed. She is using the pressure I give her to improve her martial path. She wants to merge the lunar true water into her own martial path. The whirlpool formed by the lunar true water became more stable. As the streams of water spun, large amounts of lightning danced within the water. The sky was filled with dark clouds. Countless bolts of blue and purple lightning flowed within the clouds, bringing with them a series of explosions. They gathered above the Fang Dragon King's head from all directions. In the next moment, the mighty Thunder Spear, which was infused with the Tine True Water, attacked the Dragon Fire realm formed by the Fang Dragon King. Chapter 1182. Seeing Yu Hongyan's spear, Fang Dragon King's heart sank. He could vaguely feel that his Dragon Fire domain would be shattered by Yu Hongyan's spear. Fang Dragon King roared angrily, and his arrogance and ferocity were stimulated. The true spirit god tattoo on his forehead flashed, and the Dragon Fire domain suddenly started to condense. It no longer protected him, but moved towards Yu Hongyan. At the same time, Fang Dragon King opened his mouth, revealing two dazzling dragon teeth. The dragon teeth were completely formed from flames, and slowly turned into light. Next, the two shining dragon teeth each shot out a beam of light, landing on the red light that gradually condensed into a full plate. Then two thick beams of light shot out from the red ball of light, aiming at Yu Hongyan. The unprecedented heat was Fang Dragon King's strongest attack. He did not care about his own safety, and wanted to fight Yu Hongyan head-on. At most, both sides would be heavily injured, or even die together. Boom! At this moment, the ground beneath the battle between the two suddenly shook violently. The ground shattered, and the shattered soil and rocks gathered together, turning into earth dragons that soared into the sky, blocking Yu Hongyan's Thunder God Spear that was attacking the Fang Dragon King. A large number of earth dragons were smashed to pieces by Yu Hongyan's spear. However, even more earth dragons were formed from earth and rocks, circling around and blocking Yu Hongyan's spear. The earth dragons were extremely lifelike. They opened their dragon eyes, and stared coldly at Yu Hongyan. Their powerful demonic soul ripples shook the entire sky. Although they did not descend with their true bodies, only a dragon king at the Union of Star Souls realm could possess such a powerful aura. These earth dragons blocked Yu Hongyan's spear, while the toothless dragon king's attack turned into two streaks of fiery light that flew out. However, the earth dragons dodged them and continued to attack Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan's pupils shrank abruptly. The flames in his eyes flickered incessantly, and the power of his blood and qi surged once again beyond its original limit. The yuanying in her body also trembled violently, and even suffered a great loss. At that critical moment, Yu Hongyan forcefully changed the direction of his spear. The vigorous thunder spear transformed into the Star Rush lightning spear. Like two lightning bolts, they flashed through the air and struck the two streaks of flames released by the Fang Dragon King. The firelight paused for a moment, but it did not stop or explode. Instead, it continued to attack Yu Hongyan. Hastily changing his attack, Yu Hongyan's spear trembled, and the army-breaching monarch halberd in his hands was knocked away. However, Yu Hongyan took a wrong step, lowered his body and twisted his waist. His body followed the direction of the army-breaching monarch halberd, making a large turn in the air. The army-breaching monarch halberd drew a huge arc in the air, as though a crescent moon was rolling in the night sky, falling towards the horizon. It was one of Yu Hongyan's seamless killing techniques, 3 spear styles falling moon. Although this move was not activated by the seamless baleful qi, it was still very mysterious. With the Tine True Water as a foil, it looked like a green moonlight streaking across the sky. The moonlight flew in an arc and struck the 2 streaks of fire from the Fang Dragon King. The 2 streaks of fire were finally stopped and exploded. However, the Toothless Dragon King's attack did not stop. The flames exploded and were no longer condensed. However, the dragon fire that spread out continued to engulf the heavens and earth, surrounding Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan's face was abnormally red. She took a deep breath, and the next moment, the raging blood on her face disappeared, and she became as pale as a sheet of paper. The army-breaching monarch halberd in her hand used the astral wind divine spear. Thousands of spear shadows appeared, covering the surroundings, and swept up the 9 heavens formless astral wind, tearing apart the flames that were pouncing towards her. This scene caused the Toothless Dragon King's eyelids to twitch. The situation just now was equivalent to both sides using their strongest attacks against each other. It was very likely that both sides would suffer heavy losses, or even perish together. However, the sudden intervention of the Earth Dragon had helped the Toothless Dragon King block Yu Hongyan's attack, while the Toothless Dragon King's strongest attack was still directed towards Yu Hongyan. The Toothless Dragon King was safe, but Yu Hongyan was in a situation that most people would die in. In such a situation, even when faced with the sudden change of events, Yu Hongyan did not panic. She once again displayed her powerful abilities and her extraordinary battle talent. She actually managed to break through the Toothless Dragon King's attack. Furthermore, even in such a dangerous situation, Yu Hongyan did not passively defend. Instead, she continued to attack and forcefully carved out a path of survival for herself. This was the first time in the Toothless Dragon King's long life that he had encountered such a fierce and forceful way of doing things. As the Toothless Dragon King heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the Earth Dragons in front of him, he also felt extremely ashamed. He naturally recognized that these Earth Dragons were the manifestation of the Tranquil Dragon King's demonic power. To be forced into such a predicament by a human who was only at the later stages of yuanying cultivation, and even needed the help of the Tranquil Dragon King, instantly made the Toothless Dragon King want to die of shame. You must remember today's lesson. Lu Yan has fallen, so I am helping you this time. You must improve in the future, or else your Fire Dragon tribe's future will be bleak. A deep and powerful voice sounded in the Toothless Dragon King's ears, causing him to be shocked. Royal Uncle Lu Yan. The void split open, and an extremely large yellow dragon flew out. It ignored the Toothless Dragon King and spat out an earthy yellow aura towards Yu Hongyan. The aura was extremely grand, and the demonic power within it seemed endless. Yu Hongyan frowned. This was an opponent that she might not even be able to injure with a single blow from her life force. However, she did not show any fear, and still raised her spear to meet the attack. However, the aura that the Tranquil Dragon King spat out was as vast as the ocean and as thick as the earth. It was layered without end, and Yu Hongyan could not break through it. The Tranquil Dragon King glanced at Yu Hongyan coldly, but did not stay. His figure flickered, and he tore through space and flew towards the endless dark void. He was heading towards the place where the Kuan Dragon King, Blue Sky Dragon King, Zhu Yi and Stonefeather were fighting. I'll leave this girl to you. I'll go to the Kuan Dragon King and the others as well, the Tranquil Dragon King said as he disappeared. The Toothless Dragon King was stunned. From what he knew, the Tranquil Dragon King should have been fighting with the Great Qin Dynasty's monarch Shizong Mao. Although he hated the Great Qin Dynasty's cultivators, the Toothless Dragon King knew that Shizong Mao was a Dao integration stage cultivator, and he also had a Mahayana grade Dharma treasure, the Kong Dragon Truncheon. He was evenly matched with the Tranquil Dragon King, and the outcome could only be determined after they fought. Even if the Tranquil Dragon King could win, he would have to pay a price. However, the Tranquil Dragon King did not seem to be injured at all. The Toothless Dragon King was confused, but he did not slow down at all. He immediately conjured a sea of fire and surrounded Yu Hongyan, who was trapped by the Tranquil Dragon King's demonic power. The dragon fire ignited the demonic power. There was no conflict between the two. Instead, they fused perfectly. The demonic power of the Tranquil Dragon King was extremely pure and boundless. It was as if it provided endless fuel for the Toothless Dragon King's dragon fire, causing the dragon fire to far exceed the limits of the Toothless Dragon King's power. Facing the violent dragon fire, Yu Hongyan felt like he was in hell. The 7-kill star armor on his body flashed continuously, and the purple light flickered. It was unable to withstand the onslaught of the dragon fire. The Toothless Dragon King had the upper hand, but there was no joy or pride on his face. The one who defeated you today is Uncle Tranquil Dragon King. Although I defeated you, it is not my glory. However, I will not show mercy. At this moment, the Toothless Dragon King finally had the time to contact the other experts of the dragon race who had gone to follow the Tranquil Dragon King. They were informed that an unusually strong Tao Wu had suddenly appeared and attacked Shizong Mao and the Kong Dragon Jian. The Tao Wu, also known as the Tao Wu, loved to eat humans. It looked like a Tao Wu and had tiger claws. Its speed was one of the best among the demon beasts. In recent years, the strongest expert of the Tao Wu race was a Tao Wu great sage at the Unity of the Stars realm. However, this demon had always been in seclusion, and its movements were secretive. Even the demons of Infinite Wasteland did not know where it was. The Enchantress and the Golden Rock Great Sage had thought of taming it, but before the war between the two worlds, they had not been able to find its exact whereabouts. The Tao Wu attacking Shizong Mao now was the Tao Wu Great Sage at the Unity of the Stars realm. All the dragons, including Dragon King Ho Ning, were surprised and amazed by this scene. However, with regards to this sudden help, Dragon King Ho Ning accepted it with a smile, apart from keeping his guard up a little. To deal with a special opponent like the Great Qin Dynasty, Dragon King Ho Ning only wanted to get rid of them as soon as possible. He did not mind joining forces with others to attack them. The two demons at the Astral Soul Unification realm immediately defeated Shizong Mao and the Kong Long Jian. After severely injuring Shizong Mao, the Peace Dragon King learned from the Blue Sky Dragon King that Zhu Yi had joined the battle, and that Flame Dragon King Lu Yan had died. He immediately rushed back to the battlefield at Immortal Dragon City to help. At this moment, the Toothless Dragon King finally understood why the Peace Dragon King could leave so quickly. However, just as his old doubts were cleared, a new one arose in his mind. Why did the Tao Wu Great Sage suddenly attack the cultivators of the Qin Dynasty? The dragon race did not have any relations with the Tao Wu race. They had never heard of the enmity between the Qin Dynasty and the Tao Wu. The other party's participation in the battle was truly baffling. Temporarily suppressing his doubts, the Toothless Dragon King turned his attention back to Yu Hongyan. Whether it's glory or humiliation, I will not let any Xianmen Tianzong cultivator go. He stared coldly at Yu Hongyan. Your master refined Qi Ting into his clone. Today, I will refine you into my clone. The Toothless Dragon King wanted to refine Yu Hongyan with his dragon fire. Meanwhile, the Peace Dragon King was rushing to the void where the Immortal Dragon City was. He hated this humiliation to the core. However, at this moment, a beam of light flashed in the dark void, shocking the Peace Dragon King. It was a resplendent star, one that was even bigger and more dazzling than all the real stars in the Milky Way universe. It was a star completely formed by sword chi and sword intent. A sword star filled with an unparalleled aura. The star had a long tail of flame that seemed to cut through the dark void. Its target was also where Zhu Yi, the Kunlun Dragon King, and the others were. Chapter 1183. In the dark void, dragon roars shook the heavens and the earth. Golden dragon might and auspicious clouds covered the entire area. Emperor Qin's act of sacrificing Shi Xingyun had undoubtedly infuriated the Kunlun Dragon King and Blue Sky Dragon King even more. Although Shi Xingyun had been reincarnated as a human, and the Kuan Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King no longer treated her as one of their own, Emperor Qin's Stonefeather had used the remnant soul of the Jin Dragon King to plot against the immortal Dragon City. However, Stonefeather was paying attention to Zhu Yi. Zhu Yi's stance was extremely important. Even if the ritual was successful, he would still need Zhu Yi's help if he wanted to defeat the Kunlun Dragon King and Blue Sky Dragon King. Furthermore, the immortal Dragon City would incur the wrath of the Kunlun Dragon King and Blue Sky Dragon King during the ritual. He needed Zhu Yi's help. From a certain perspective, Stonefeather was gambling. However, he wasn't gambling on whether a friend was more important to Zhu Yi or his master, Xianmen Tianzong. As his ally, the Great Qin Empire was more important. Based on Stonefeather's understanding of Zhu Yi, the main factor that affected his judgment was not the benefits, but his beliefs. Regardless of what Zhu Yi chose, his master, Lin Feng, would most likely support him. As for how Zhu Yijie would view this sacrificial ceremony, Qin Emperor Stonefeather was actually uncertain. To him, performing the ritual before Shi Xingyun's primordial spirit was undoubtedly not perfect. However, the current situation and situation of the battle might be beneficial to him, prompting Zhu Yi to make a judgment that was beneficial to him. Otherwise, if it were any other time, he would be even more uncertain about the decision of Zhu Yi and the celestial sect of wonders behind him. At this moment, a bright light suddenly flashed in the distance. It was like a huge star that pierced through the void and flew over. Emperor Qin's eyes flashed. He could tell that it was actually a resplendent sword star formed from countless sword chi. Thousands upon thousands of sword energies swirled and fused together to form a majestic sword energy. Thousands upon thousands of sword energies gathered together to form a dazzling sword beam. Thousands upon thousands of dazzling sword beams crisscrossed to form a terrifying sword formation that shook the heavens and the earth. The thousands of sword formations merged and formed this resplendent star. It was even more dazzling than a real star. It streaked across the sky and attacked the Kunlun Dragon King and Blue Sky Dragon King. Emperor Qin recognized the majestic sword Dao at first glance. Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable? Zhu Yi also looked at the huge dazzling sword star. The newcomer was the supreme elder of the Mount Shu sword sect, a great sword cultivator in the Dharma-ending realm, Tiangang Sword Venerable. Before Lin Feng ascended to Mount Shu, this great sword cultivator, who had already attained Dao in the Middle Ages, had always been known as the #1 sword cultivator in the vast land of the Divine Land. During the battle at Shu Mountain, Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable wielded the Celestial Heaven Sword formation and the power of the 7 sword peaks to fight against Lin Feng. In the end, Lin Feng defeated the Celestial Heaven Sword formation and broke the Celestial Heaven Sword. In that battle, Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable had been injured, but more importantly, his sword heart had been damaged by Lin Feng. Xian Longsheng, the sect leader of the Shu Mountain Sword sect at that time, and Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable Firmament, had suffered the same fate. Under these 3 sword cultivators, the entire Shu Mountain Sword sect was shaken. They fell into confusion and chaos. After that battle, the entire Shu Mountain Sword sect sealed itself off from the outside world, until the war between the 2 worlds began. No disciples went out anymore. The sacred land of Sword Dao of the past seemed to have disappeared from this world. When the war between the 2 worlds began, all the human cultivators in the Divine Land, including Xianmen Tianzong and Taishu Temple, did not take the power of the Shu Mountain Sword sect into account. They did not expect Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable to come to Infinite Wilderness. And looking at his sword Dao and sword intent, he seemed to have reaffirmed his own path. His sword intent was sharp and invincible. The Kunlun Dragon King let out a roar, and spat out a beam of golden light from his mouth. It looked like flames, but it also looked like lightning. However, the dancing flames and lightning gathered together at this moment, forming a sharp and hard metallic texture. It clashed with Sword Venerable Tiangong's sword momentum. The golden light and the sword star shattered together. Thousands of sword radiances flashed, revealing a tall, middle-aged man. He was very handsome and had straight eyebrows. It was Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable. Emperor Qin's Stonefeather looked at Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable. I didn't expect Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable to come here. Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable did not speak. His spiritual perception spread out. It's not just me. The other cultivators in Shu Mountain will also participate in this war between the two worlds. With just this sentence, Emperor Qin's Stonefeather and Zhu Yi understood. The Shu Mountain Sword Sect wanted to re-establish itself in this war between the two worlds. The Shu Mountain Sword Sect, which had been sealed off for many years, wanted to use this opportunity to participate in this war to re-enter the stage of the Divine Land. Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable looked at Zhu Yi. After this war between the two worlds, I will go to Kunlun Mountain and seek guidance from your master. Zhu Yi's expression did not change. He said lightly, if master needs something, I will do it. However, I am not a sword cultivator. If I use the Permitha Golden Bridge to fight with you, you might not be willing. I will bring your words to my master. Everything will be decided by him. If you want to go to Kunlun Mountain, our sect will welcome you at any time. Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable nodded, and did not say anything else. Emperor Qin's Stonefeather said, I thank Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable for his help. We will talk in detail after we defeat these dragons. Celestial Dipper Sword Venerable had reached the Dharma Ending Realm. His participation in the battle immediately changed the situation, greatly reducing the pressure on Zhu Yi and Stonefeather. However, he did not have the Celestial Heaven Sword, and Emperor Qin's Stonefeather had not reached the Dharma Ending Realm. Although Zhu Yi had the Permitha Golden Bridge with him, there was still a huge gap between his magical power and that of a Dharma Ending Realm expert. It was still extremely difficult for the three of them to kill the Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King. However, it was no longer a problem for them to safely retreat to the Divine Land. While Stonefeather was slightly relieved, he also tensed up. Their combat power had increased, and the situation was no longer so critical. There were many variables in Zhu Yi's decision regarding the sacrificial ceremony. The sacrificial ceremony had already begun. There were only two outcomes, success or failure. It could not be stopped midway. As Stonefeather thought about this, he activated the sacrificial ceremony, while controlling the Immortal Dragon City to resist the Kunlun Dragon King's attack. Then he looked at Zhu Yi again. However, at this moment, his expression suddenly changed, and he lowered his head to look at the Immortal Dragon City below him. This was because he suddenly felt that the Immortal Dragon City's power was actually continuously weakening, and the communication between him and the Immortal Dragon City's Dharma Treasure Origin Spirit had actually started to become sluggish. The Immortal Dragon City was a creation Dharma treasure. Its Dharma Treasure Origin Spirit was not as active as ordinary Dharma treasures. Instead, it was like the world's will, as vast as the sky. It would not easily move. However, this did not mean that the Immortal Dragon City's Dharma Treasure Origin Spirit had no thoughts. However, at this moment, Stonefeather clearly felt that the Immortal Dragon City's Dharma Treasure Origin Spirit was actually gradually falling into silence. As the Dharma Treasure Origin Spirit fell silent, the divine sense connection between Stonefeather and the Immortal Dragon City was also gradually cut off. No matter how hard Stonefeather tried, he could not restore it. During this process, the Immortal Dragon City's power was also gradually being eliminated. The tens of thousands of heroic spirits on top of the city wall disappeared one by one, and the mysterious light that enveloped the Great Wall also disappeared. At this moment, not only Stonefeather but even Zhu Yi, the Big Dipper Sword Venerable, the Kunlun Dragon King, and the Blue Sky Dragon King had also discovered the problem. The Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King let out a deafening roar at the same time, and pounced towards Stonefeather and the Immortal Dragon City. It's Xingyun. The first thought that came to Stonefeather's mind was that Shi Xingyun, who had been sacrificed, had caused this change. However, after investigating through the remaining connection between him and the immortal dragon city, he discovered that Shi Xingyun's consciousness was in a completely unconscious state, due to the effect of the sacrificial ritual. It was impossible for him to do anything. He could only passively merge with the immortal dragon city under the effect of the sacrificial ritual. Stonefeather's expression darkened. To think that such a change would occur even though he hasn't formed an essence soul? After careful investigation, Stonefeather discovered that the sacrificial ritual had not actually failed. However, because Shi Xingyun had yet to form an essence soul, the immortal dragon city would temporarily fall into a deep sleep during the process of the sacrificial ritual. Even Stonefeather could not wake it up for a certain period of time. The situation of this sacrificial ritual was too special. With the combination of various factors, it was unprecedented and could not be tested at all. Although the experts of the Great Qin dynasty had been deducing for a long time, something unexpected still happened. Facing the Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King, such an accident would undoubtedly be fatal. Human, you only have yourself to blame for this. The Kunlun Dragon King roared furiously at the sky and instantly pounced before the immortal dragon city. He then clawed at Qinyu, who was on top of the city wall. Golden light instantly enveloped the entire space. A ferocious dragon might spread out. Due to the huge difference in cultivation level, Emperor Qin's essence soul, who had lost the protection of the immortal dragon city, trembled. The Blue Sky Dragon King also spat out a large amount of dark green light that dispelled the chaos in the space. It turned into a huge wave that charged towards Emperor Qin, Stonefeather, and the immortal dragon city. The situation had been turned around due to Sword Venerate Heavenly Dipper's unexpected support. However, at this moment, due to another unexpected situation, the situation was instantly on the verge of collapse. After losing the immortal dragon city, although Emperor Qin, Stonefeather, was also a powerful being of the Dao integration stage, he was destined to be unable to withstand the Kunlun Dragon King, who was of the Dharma decline stage, and the Blue Sky Dragon King, who was only one step away from completing the first tribulation. Meanwhile, even if Zhu Yi and Sword Venerate Heavenly Dipper joined forces to face these two powerful beings of the dragon tribe, they would also find it extremely difficult to deal with. Stonefeather's expression was extremely grave. He took a deep breath and made a prompt decision. As his hands changed hand seals, waves of magic power were sent out and landed on the immortal dragon city. However, this wasn't to speed up the completion of the sacrificial ritual. The sacrificial ritual couldn't be stopped, nor could it speed up its completion. It could only be destroyed completely or until it succeeded. However, Stonefeather's current action was to destroy the sacrificial ritual that he had created, so that he could immediately reawaken the immortal dragon city. At this instant, Stonefeather and Zhu Yi's eyes met. Both of them felt that this was extremely absurd. Chapter 1184. The immortal dragon city fell into silence. The light around it gradually dimmed, as if it had fallen asleep. Before this, the immortal dragon city had withstood most of the Kunlun Dragon King's attacks. Its strong defense was on full display. Without the immortal dragon city to block the Kunlun Dragon King, Zhu Yi and Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper immediately felt the pressure increase. However, the Kunlun Dragon King's main target was still Qin Emperor Stonefeather and the immortal dragon city. On the other side, the Blue Sky Dragon King was the same. Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper's expression was solemn, his eyes flickering. Among the human cultivators present, unlike the feud between Qin Emperor Stonefeather and the dragon race, and unlike Zhu Yi's fresh hatred for killing Flame Dragon Queen, the Shushan sword cultivators did not have any deep grudges with the dragon race. The dragon race might not like his participation in this battle, but if he retreated immediately, the Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King would probably turn a blind eye and ignore him. They would focus all their attention on Stonefeather and Zhu Yi, and kill these two greater enemies. If Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper stayed to help Stonefeather and Zhu Yi continue fighting the dragon race to the death, the result would be disastrous. Other than Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper, there were indeed other Shushan sword sect cultivators who had also joined the war between the two worlds, displaying high morale and strong combat power. But only Shushan knew that the Shushan sword cultivators participating in this battle were all available in the Shushan sword sect. At this moment, the Shushan sword sect had two completely different styles. Some people had reforged their sword hearts and were in high spirits, while others were still in chaos and unable to extricate themselves. Among them was the other Grand Elder, Sword Venerable Firmament. The previous sect master of Shushan, Xian Longsheng, was still far away and had not returned. The only Shushan sword cultivators who could come with Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper to Infinite Wasteland were the new sect master, the former Sword Venerable Xiaoyang, and the sword master of the Li Meng sword branch, Sword Venerable Li Meng. Apart from them, there was the new sword master of the Xiaoyang sword branch, who was still at the primordial spirit embodiment realm, the former Sword Venerable Firmament, as well as the Shushan cultivators below the primordial spirit embodiment realm. Honorable Swordsman Lunar, Honorable Swordsman Xiaoza, Honorable Swordsman Guanchong, and the newly appointed Honorable Swordsman Little Shang were all like Honorable Swordsman Firmament, staying at Shushan. It could be said that Shu Mountain had turned out in full force this time. Their hometown was completely playing an empty fort strategy. In a sense, the Mount Shu sword sect had also risked their lives to survive this time. The Big Dipper Sword Venerable and the others showed a kind of determination and resolution that was not known to outsiders. With Xian Longsheng missing and Sword Venerable Firmament trapped in the confinement, Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper could almost be said to be the only pillar of the Mount Shu sword sect. If he died here, the Mount Shu sword sect would have a very difficult time in the future. Once the internal situation was known, it might even be in danger of being completely destroyed. This was especially so when the Great Qin Empire's enemy was the dragon race, which had little to do with Shushan, and not the primordial demon ape race that Shushan had always been wary of. If Heavenly Dipper Sword Venerable died in battle here, it would only bring harm and no benefit to the Mount Shu sword sect. However, this silent great sword cultivator had no intention of retreating. Or perhaps, from the moment he decided to lead the team to the infinite wilderness, he was already mentally prepared. Facing the enormous pressure from the Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King, Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper's eyes were resolute. As the dermic power around him fluctuated, a terrifying aura of disaster and the end of all things suddenly emerged from his body, the aura of the Dharma-ending tribulation. Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper had already attained Tao in the Middle Epoch, and he had rich experience in fighting. Almost in an instant, he had already found the battle strategy that had the highest chance of success. The Kunlun Dragon King's strength was undoubtedly the strongest. Without the Celestial Heavenly Sword, Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper was no match for the Kunlun Dragon King in a one-on-one battle. At the current realm, even with the Permitha Golden Bridge, Zhu Yi was the same. The Blue Sky Dragon King was only one step away from completely completing the initial tribulation. Although he had not reached the Dharma-ending realm, his magical powers and demonic powers were powerful. If he revealed his true form, he would be able to fight with Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper, or the Permitha Golden Bridge. Under the sudden silence of the immortal Dragon City, the Dragon Clan had an overwhelming advantage in the current situation. Under such circumstances, the only way to break out of this situation was for Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper to withstand the Dharma-ending tribulation, and then use the power of the Dharma-ending tribulation to attack the Blue Sky Dragon King. After the Blue Sky Dragon King revealed his true form, although his magical powers and demonic powers could fight with Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper, he still could not completely complete the initial tribulation. Once he endured the Dharma-ending tribulation, he would immediately start a new tribulation. If he could not withstand it, the Blue Sky Dragon King might even die. No matter how powerful the Kunlun Dragon King was, he would not be able to replace the Blue Sky Dragon King. Even if the Blue Sky Dragon King survived the Dharma-ending tribulation and did not die, he would still enter a period of severe weakness, and would need a long time to recover. After the Dharma-ending tribulation completely recovered, the Blue Sky Dragon King would be considered to have truly entered the Dharma-ending realm. However, before he recovered, his combat power would definitely be greatly reduced, and he might even be forced to retreat from the battle. Although Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper would also be weakened, one Dharma-ending tribulation was completely within his endurance range. At this time, if he joined forces with Zhu Yi's Permitha Bridge, it would not be so difficult for him to fight the Kunlun Dragon King. Zhu Yi and Stonefeather were surprised to see Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper being so decisive. They could also see the way to break out of this situation, but they did not expect Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper to fight with his life on the line. However, the great calamity aura on Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper still gave Qin Emperor Stonefeather some hope. However, the Kunlun Dragon King and the Blue Sky Dragon King naturally noticed the problem that they noticed as well. In an instant, they also understood Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper's overall plan. The Kunlun Dragon King snorted coldly. Shu Mountain. As the scales on his body opened and closed, golden light surged. His huge body circled in the void, and actually split into 9 beams of golden light. The 9 beams of golden light formed the momentum of a coiling dragon, completely separating the void and trapping Zhu Yi and Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper. At the same time, it separated them from the Immortal Dragon City and the Blue Sky Dragon King. The expressions of Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper and Qin Emperor Stonefeather instantly changed. The Kunlun Dragon King said coldly, "Blue Sky, kill that Qin person. This Shu Mountain Sword cultivator can't do anything to you." After taking a closer look at the Golden Light Realm trapping him, and Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper, Zhu Yi also frowned. The Kunlun Dragon King had actually temporarily given up on attacking and switched to full defense. This primordial celestial dragon had given up on his pride, and adopted a purely defensive stance despite having the upper hand. This was to ensure that the direction of the battle was firmly in his hands. His hatred for the Immortal Dragon City and the Great Qin Dynasty had reached its peak. The Kunlun Dragon King had completely adopted a defensive stance. His powerful mystique and demonic power had directly isolated the void, causing the golden light to be like 2 separate worlds. Be it Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper or Zhu Yi, if they couldn't break through this dragon domain, they wouldn't be able to come into contact with the Blue Sky Dragon King and the Immortal Dragon City. At this moment, outside the Golden Light Dragon domain, the Blue Sky Dragon King didn't waste any time. He had already charged towards Stonefeather and the Immortal Dragon City with a roar. Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper's original plan had failed midway. However, he had a resolute character and wasn't dispirited. Instead, he shook the ancient sword in his hand and attacked the Golden Light Realm formed by the Kunlun Dragon King with all his might. He wanted to break it apart. Without any communication, Zhu Yi also activated the Permitha Bridge at almost the same time, and attacked the Kunlun Dragon King together. Even though the two of them had a grudge against each other, it didn't stop them from joining forces at this moment. The two of them had never cooperated before, and hadn't even fought before. At this moment, based on their own cultivation, they immediately displayed an amazing tacit understanding. 7 colorful halos kept flashing above the head of the golden giant formed by the fusion of Zhu Yi and the Permitha Bridge. Under the cover of the halos, it had already transformed back into the Permitha Bridge. Meanwhile, the Wenhua Tai Chi diagram formed by Zhu Yi's primordial spirit hovered above the Permitha Bridge. Under the cover of the 7 halos, the Golden Bridge's aura became more and more majestic. It was as if it was crossing a natural chasm to the other side, and it kept moving forward in the realm formed by the Kunlun Dragon King. Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper naturally wouldn't activate the Dharma-ending catastrophe when facing the Kunlun Dragon King, who was also in the Dharma-ending realm. However, he also activated his sword principle cultivation to the extreme. He raised the ancient sword high in his hand, and the Immortal Heaven Galaxy River Fruit appeared. Almost endless majestic Immortal Heaven Sword Chi and Celestial Dipper Sword will converge together. Tens of thousands of Sword Chi, Sword Essence, and Sword Formation formed a terrifying Celestial Dipper Sword Star. This time it wasn't just one sword star. Countless Celestial Dipper Sword Stars gathered together and turned into a Celestial Sword Galaxy. It was a terrifying galaxy formed by the convergence of sword light and sword will. This dazzling galaxy flew straight down toward the Kunlun Dragon King. In the process, the power of the galaxy and the Permitha Bridge merged together. The bridge and the river combined perfectly at this moment, forming a scene that seemed to be moving yet still. The scene seemed to be frozen at this moment, but it also seemed to be exploding with astonishing power. Even the Kunlun Dragon King couldn't take this attack lightly. Dragon roars filled the sky in the Golden Light Dragon domain. Golden light dragons circled and danced together in this world. The violent power shook the Golden Permitha Bridge and the Sky Sword Galaxy to the point that they were about to split into two again. Although they cooperated well, the Permitha Bridge was after all not a magic treasure controlled by Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper. There was still a flaw in their cooperation, which was obvious to a top expert like the Kunlun Dragon King. Even so, this powerful attack caused the golden light-bounded domain formed by the dragon race's demonic power to tremble. However, the all-out defense of a doomsday heavenly dragon was too strong. Even if Zhu Yi and Sword Venerable Celestial Dipper worked together, they still couldn't break through it. At this moment, outside the golden light-bounded domain, the Blue Sky Dragon King had already pounced toward Qin Emperor Stonefeather and the Immortal Dragon City. The Immortal Dragon City was slowly becoming silent. Qin Emperor Stonefeather could only use the Immortal Dragon City's remaining power to fight against the Blue Sky Dragon King. However, this power was also declining. He wanted to disrupt the sacrificial ceremony that he had set up, but under the pressure of the Blue Sky Dragon King, he couldn't do anything else. He could only watch the sacrificial ceremony continue, and the Immortal Dragon City's power continue to decline. Chapter 1185. The Earth Dragon King turned into the Golden Light Dragon domain and blocked Sword Venerable Big Dipper and Zhu Yi. Meanwhile, the Blue Sky Dragon King attacked Emperor Qin's Stonefeather magic treasure on the Immortal Dragon City, like a tidal wave. The Immortal Dragon City became silent, and its power kept decreasing. Facing the Blue Sky Dragon King, Stonefeather felt powerless. The Jade Dragon Flames had already landed on the Immortal Dragon City. The Immortal Dragon City had a strong foundation, and even though the magic treasure was silent, it could still block the Blue Sky Dragon King's attacks. However, Emperor Qin Stonefeather could not receive the protection of the Immortal Dragon City. Although he was a Dao integration expert, he was not a match for the Blue Sky Dragon King, who was only one step away from the Dharma-ending realm. At the critical moment, Stonefeather did not have time to stop the ritual. His hands kept forming hand seals, and waves of magic power shot out, turning into a huge ball of light in the air. Following this, Stonefeather condensed his Dragon Emperor True Fruit. The five-colored light turned into golden Dao fruits that flew into the ball of light. The ball of light immediately began to change rapidly, and many bizarre images appeared within it. There were mountains and plains, but they were not scenes of Tianhuang mainland. That was Jingguan in the vast land of the Divine Prefecture. It was the fertile land within the Great Qin Empire's territory, and many of the Great Qin Empire's citizens lived there. Countless colorful formless currents rose up, turning into light dragons. These were the Great Qin dynasty's Dragon Vein Providence. These Dragon Vein Providence gathered towards the Great Qin dynasty's Shilling City. Shilling City seemed to have turned into a huge magic formation. Tens of thousands of Dragon Vein Providence hid within it, forming a network of light veins that flowed silently. The center of this magic formation was the Great Qin Imperial Palace's main hall. There was a smaller magic formation here that covered the entire palace. All the Dragon Vein Providence was gathered here, and the magic formation in the palace spun rapidly. A huge ball of light gradually formed above the magic formation, hiding the Dragon Vein Providence. As if passing through the endless void, the Dragon Vein Providence was brought before Emperor Qin Stonefeather. Through the Dragon Emperor True Fruit in the ball of light, it buffed Emperor Qin Stonefeather's body. Traveling through the void naturally could not compare to being in Western Tomb City. However, it still caused Qin Emperor Stonefeather's aura to surge wildly, exceeding his usual state. This allowed him to temporarily block the Jade Sky Dragon King. As the Blue Sky Dragon King roared, the scales on his body opened and closed. Large amounts of dark green light flashed, and it was as vast as the sea. In this dark green sea, one could see stars constantly rising and falling, causing the dark green sea to become clearer and clearer, but the color also became darker and darker. In the end, it was almost pure black, like a sea of ink. The violent waves swept downwards, instantly engulfing both Stonefeather and the ball of light. A large number of 5-colored light dragons circled around Stonefeather's body, but when they were swept up by the ink sea, they immediately began to shatter. This black sea was the manifestation of the blue sky dragon king, pushing his jade dragon flame to the extreme. He had also infused it with the power of the stars that he had refined. Wherever the Black Sea went, everything would be destroyed. The power of the Black Sea was even stronger than the Jade Treasure Light World. If Stonefeather didn't have the ball of light guiding the Divine Land's dragon vein aura to strengthen himself, he would have suffered the moment the Black Sea arrived. At this moment he could only struggle with all his might. He was like a lone boat in a storm, about to be drowned at any time. The Black Sea kept melting away his Jade Sky Dragon King's Dharma powers. The speed was extremely fast, like rolling snow, and he was about to be engulfed. In the golden light realm formed by the Kuan Dragon King, Zhu Yi and Sword Venerable Celestial Big Dipper were also attacking the Dragon Domain Dharma treasure in front of them. After his attack missed, Zhu Yi transformed from the Wenhua Taiji painting's essence spirit into his human form again. His gaze was a little serious, and then he pointed a finger at his forehead. A small dot of light suddenly flew out from between Zhu Yi's eyebrows. That dot of light looked inconspicuous, but the moment it appeared, it attracted the attention of the Kuan Dragon King and Sword Venerable Celestial Big Dipper. The golden light dragon domain formed by the Kuan Dragon King shook. The dot of light flickered, and the light dissipated, turning into a black and white jade stone. That jade stone erupted with a shocking brilliance in the void. Suddenly, the sky was filled with light and clouds. The black and white light alternated, shaking the entire void. It was as if a yin and yang sun was slowly rising. Wherever the light reached, countless mysterious runes and diagrams densely covered the void, shaking the heaven and earth. In the next moment, the black and white light turned into a shocking rainbow that traversed the void. It was as if the entire golden light realm was divided into two. In that brilliance, there was a sky full of gods and Buddhas chanting together. Countless gods and Buddhas materialized and stood on the brilliance. The mysterious Gate Master's divine light of creation? Is that the crystal of his divine light of creation? The Kuan Dragon King and Sword Venerable Celestial Big Dipper had fought with Lin Feng before. They immediately recognized the black and white brilliance that shocked them. It was Lin Feng's divine light of creation. Sword Venerable Celestial Big Dipper took a deep breath. Such a majestic power. How much divine light did he condense to form such a crystal? Even if he activated it with his real body, it might not be so powerful in a split second, right? Zhu Yi's expression was calm. He immediately activated the golden bridge of the Permitha realm to fuse with that majestic brilliance. The power between the two merged, and the momentum of the golden bridge of the Permitha realm became even more powerful. On top of the original 7 rings of light, an 8th ring of light had appeared, and there was even the vague appearance of a 9th ring of light. This was what Lin Feng had given him before he went to the Violet Mist Sea. It was to prevent great demons in the Dharma-ending realm from intercepting and killing him. Lin Feng had condensed the crystal of his divine light of creation before, but he had never spent so much effort. When Zhu Yi activated this crystal and fused it with the golden bridge of the Permitha realm, he could escape even if he encountered a great demon in the Dharma-ending realm. From Zhu Yi's point of view, he wasn't a stickler for rules. He would use the power that he should according to the situation. He wouldn't feel any psychological burden when he borrowed the power of his master, Lin Feng. But like Wang Lin, if it was a problem that he could solve by himself, he would always hope to solve it by himself. He wouldn't disturb Lin Feng. However, the situation had reached a critical moment. Zhu Yi couldn't care so much anymore. With the support of Lin Feng's divine light of creation, the golden bridge of the Permitha realm crossed the golden light dragon domain with a powerful momentum that transcended everything, shattering all the light dragons. Sword Venerable Tiangang also didn't hesitate at this moment. He once again exerted his full strength and displayed the essence of his swordsmanship and sword will. Once again, it turned into a distant galaxy formed by sword light, and combined with Zhu Yi's golden bridge of the Permitha realm. The three great forces combined into one and bombarded the barrier that the Kunlun Dragon King had set up. The Kunlun Dragon King let out an indignant roar. The heavenly voice of the Dragon Emperor resounded throughout the void. The originally clear golden light dragon domain suddenly became turbid. Vital chi and demonic power intertwined in the domain, forming a collapsing trend. It was as if the boundless world was really going to be destroyed. The golden light dragon domain began to collapse. It pressed toward Zhu Yi and Sword Venerable Tiangang, who were in the middle. The terrifying force had far exceeded the destructive power of a medium-class world. However, the Golden Bridge and Galaxy, which were surrounded by the black and white radiance, still managed to resist the collapse of the Golden Light Dragon domain with a powerful force that transcended destruction and reached the Permitha realm. Finally, the Golden Bridge of the Permitha realm forced its way out of the collapsing Golden Light Dragon domain. The Kunlun Dragon King's long roar sounded incessantly. The collapsing Golden Light Dragon domain transformed in the void, and instantly turned into the appearance of a golden-scaled primordial heavenly dragon. The Kunlun Dragon King's vitality was slightly injured when his defense was forcefully broken. However, what made him feel even worse was that when he came into contact with the black and white radiance, the wound on his broken dragon claw seemed to ache again. The face of the purple-robed young man who severed his dragon claw and dragon tail years ago appeared in front of the Kunlun Dragon King again. This made him furious. The Kunlun Dragon King, who was on the verge of going berserk, turned around and coiled his huge body around the Permitha Golden Bridge of the Permitha realm. The heavenly sword galaxy formed by Sword Venerable Big Dipper was also coiled around by the Kunlun Dragon King. Sword Venerable Big Dipper didn't say a word. Under his control, the heavenly sword galaxy suddenly surged and countless dazzling sword stars floated in it. Then, they turned into towering sword lights and attacked the Kunlun Dragon King's body. The golden dragon scales on the Kunlun Dragon King's body opened and closed continuously. Countless golden auspicious clouds emerged from within and dissipated the sword lights that were aimed at him. He suddenly opened his mouth and sucked in the heavenly sword galaxy that was connected to the golden bridge. The dragon's mouth was like a black hole, and a terrifying suction force erupted from it. The heavenly river formed by the sword stars also became unstable. A large amount of sword lights and sword chi were directly absorbed and swallowed by the Kunlun Dragon King. It was as if they couldn't cause any harm to the Kunlun Dragon King. Sword Venerable Big Dipper's divine sense shook violently in the void. He had reached the Dharma-ending realm. Even if the Kunlun Dragon King wanted to devour him like this, it would seem too arrogant. However, his rich battle experience over the years allowed him to remain calm. He knew that the Kunlun Dragon King was deliberately luring him into a trap to prevent him from dealing with the Blue Sky Dragon King and supporting Emperor Qin Stonefeather. The heavenly sword galaxy immediately continued to surround the Permitha Golden Bridge, ignoring the Kunlun Dragon King's provocation. Meanwhile, the Kunlun Dragon King's body was wrapped tightly around the Permitha Golden Bridge. While he was dealing with Sword Venerable Big Dipper, his left front claw also swiped at Zhu Yi, who was on the Permitha Golden Bridge. If this claw were to land, it would directly crush Zhu Yi's primordial spirit. Zhu Yi's expression was still calm. The Permitha Golden Bridge beneath his feet exploded with astonishing power under the support of the black and white divine light of creation. As the sky was filled with golden radiance, it forcefully blocked the Kunlun Dragon King's claw. At the same time, the majestic Golden Bridge continued to extend forward. In an instant, it traversed the endless void and arrived beside the Blue Sky Dragon King. Zhu Yi spread out his primordial spirit incarnation of the One Hua Tai Chi diagram. The radiance of the Golden Bridge suddenly reversed, forming a huge reverse suction force. It actually pulled back the ink sea formed by the Blue Sky Dragon King's demonic power. The pressure on Emperor Qin Stonefeather, who was already surrounded by perils and on the brink of death, was finally alleviated. He activated his supernatural power, and rays of light dragons danced in the air. He fought against the weakened Ink Sea and tried to find an opportunity to escape. However, at this moment, the Ink Sea suddenly split open, and a giant yellow dragon rushed out from it. It clawed at Emperor Qin Stonefeather. It was the Dragon King Honing. Emperor Qin Stonefeather, who was busy defending against the Ink Sea, could only watch as the Dragon King Honing revealed his true form. At this moment, the Dragon King Honing unleashed all his power and clawed at his chest. Chapter 1186. The Yellow Dragon race was known for their vast demonic power. At the same time, the power of their physical body and chi blood was considered superior among demons of the same realm. Dragon King Honing, who was at the Astral Soul Unification realm, revealed his true form at this moment. He released all his powerful demonic power and physical strength. He opened his mouth, and starlight flashed. Many stars floated in his mouth, and the power of the stars was also added to Dragon King Honing's body. His huge body was much larger than Emperor Qin's Stonefeather. It was like the difference between a mountain and a pebble on the ground. But Dragon King Honing reached out with his claws, twisting time and space. Like two streams of light, he grabbed Emperor Qin's Stonefeather's chest. The violent dragon claws pierced through Stonefeather's essence spirit. Stonefeather, who was still defending against Jade Sky Dragon King's attack, could not care about anything else. He could only watch as Dragon King Honing's claws tore through his body. Stonefeather's human-shaped essence spirit was instantly torn apart by Dragon King Honing's claws. With a long howl, Stonefeather's essence spirit turned into streams of light, and finally gathered into 5 beams of light. They were red, yellow, green, white, and black. The 5 beams of light turned into 5 light dragons that scattered in all directions, trying to escape. But although he was not killed by Dragon King Honing's attack, he was heavily injured and could no longer withstand Jade Sky Dragon King's Ink Sea attack. Zhu Yi's Permetha Bridge withstood the Kuan Dragon King's pressure, and still tried to absorb the Ink Sea. But Stonefeather's shattered essence spirit was still instantly drowned by the Ink Sea. The 5 light dragons only bobbed in the Ink Sea for a while before completely falling silent. They were all destroyed. The last Blackwater light dragon struggled in the Ink Sea. Its body kept shrinking and gradually turned back into human form. It was Emperor Qin Stonefeather. The shock and anger on his face gradually disappeared. His flat crown fell off his head, and his hair fluttered. There was only endless disappointment and worry on his face. The disappointment was because he had died before his ambitions could be fulfilled. During his reign, the Great Zhou Empire rose up strongly, and its national strength vaguely surpassed that of the Great Qin Empire. The Great Zhou's Liang Pan and Zhu Hongwu were in high spirits, while Stonefeather and the Great Qin Empire were restrained by the Great Zhou, Shu Mountain, sects and aristocratic families. It was only in the Battle of West Hill City more than a decade ago that Qin Emperor Stonefeather made one of the most important decisions in recent years. Only then did he finally have the chance to reinvigorate himself. With Lin Feng's help, the Immortal Dragon City was finally completed, showing the hope of the Great Qin dynasty's rise again. After that, the Battle of the Ying Ocean and the Battle of the Xian Extermination continuously changed the overall situation in the Divine Land, especially between the Great Qin dynasty and the Great Zhou dynasty. After the east wind blew for many years, the west wind finally suppressed the east wind again. The Great Zhou dynasty's rising momentum was severely affected, and even showed signs of decline, while the Great Qin dynasty's strength continued to increase. However, there were still 2 mountains towering above the Great Qin dynasty, Taishu Temple and Xianmen Tianzong. No emperor was willing to be below others. It was not just Zhou Emperor Liang Pan, but Qin Emperor Stonefeather was the same. The entire Great Qin dynasty was constantly searching for any opportunity that could allow them to advance further, an opportunity that could allow them to continue rising. However, opportunity was always accompanied by risk. Qin Emperor Stonefeather knew this long ago, but when this moment really came, he was still filled with regret. What worried him even more was the fate that the Great Qin dynasty would face next. The fate of the Golden Rock Sage and his subordinates was like a lesson that was still vivid in his mind. Stonefeather's gaze finally looked towards the Immortal Dragon City. There, The creation treasure that the Great Qin dynasty had placed high hopes on seemed to have become an ordinary section of the Great Wall. Apart from its astonishing length, there was nothing special about it. The creation treasure's origin spirit sank into silence, not responding to Stonefeather's thoughts. The ritual was still going on. After losing Stonefeather's control, Stonefeather could no longer control or predict whether the ritual would change or what direction everything would take. The girl in the sacrificial ritual was also in a state of unconsciousness. Since he had already made a decision, Qin Emperor Stonefeather would not regret it or blame others. He only had deep regret in his heart. One wrong step led to many wrong steps. The sad thing was that there was no chance to turn back and start again. Stonefeather's consciousness gradually dissipated, and the immortal Dragon City also gradually disappeared from his vision. An emperor of a human faction had fallen just like that. So far in the war between the two worlds, the first leader-level expert of the human cultivation world had fallen. The ruler of the Great Qin dynasty, Qin Emperor Stonefeather. In the distant infinite wilderness land, the expression of the Fang Dragon King, who was trying to forcefully refine Yu Hongyan with dragon fire, suddenly changed. He seemed to have received a voice transmission from someone else. Then he laughed wildly. That human who blasphemed the remains of the ancestral dragon is seeking his own destruction. And that so-called immortal Dragon City will also be destroyed. Good, good, good. The greatest humiliation of my race, since the immemorial era, will finally be washed away. Fang Dragon King's expression was extremely joyful. He looked down at Yu Hongyan trapped in the sea of fire and roared. He continued to spit out dragon fire. Large amounts of fire surrounded Yu Hongyan, wanting to refine her to death. The demonic aura that Honing Dragon King had left behind was vast and endless to both Fang Dragon King and Yu Hongyan. Now that it was ignited by Fang Dragon King's dragon fire, it instantly turned into a fiery hell. But Yu Hongyan once again shocked Fang Dragon King. Through the previous exchange, Fang Dragon King felt that Yu Hongyan was an opponent that could only win with ease. This was not a derogatory term, because Yu Hongyan's advantage was created by herself, and her fighting style was constantly expanding the advantage of Yu Hongyan's advantage, like a rolling snowball that could not be stopped. The more she fought, the smoother she became, and the faster her opponent collapsed. To turn the tables on Yu Hongyan was an extremely difficult task for an opponent of the same level as her. As long as Yu Hongyan had the advantage would only become more and more obvious, and it would be hard to reverse. But on the other hand, if Yu Hongyan was in a disadvantageous position, and was suppressed by the opponent, then she would only attack. She did not specialize in defense, and would also lose quickly. However, her tough style often made her opponents wary. When they killed Yu Hongyan, it was easy for Yu Hongyan to counterattack, and they would pay a huge price. Fang Dragon King had been guarding against this. But now he saw that Yu Hongyan had actually pulled back her spear, condensing it in front of her, and waved it slowly. It looked slow but was actually extremely fast. She blocked the dragon fire outside. Although a large amount of dragon fire still broke through and injured Yu Hongyan, most of it was blocked by her. A dark cloud seemed to form around Yu Hongyan. The dark cloud contained large amounts of water vapor, but it did not explode. It gave off a heavy and oppressive feeling. But before it could explode, it contained a terrifying explosive power, as though it would explode at any moment. Yu Hongyan, who usually only knew how to attack, was actually defending at this moment. And her defense was impenetrable. With her current cultivation level, she had done it to the extreme. Yu Hongyan's Heaven Law for Elephant Holy Spear, Impenetrable Cloud Holy Spear. In one move she had both offense and defense. She attacked but did not attack. She hit but did not unleash it. Yet, she was able to defend at the same time. It was as though a thunderstorm was hidden in the clouds. This was a martial technique that was different from Yu Hongyan's past battle style. And it also seemed to go against the martial will that she had been practicing all this while. However, right now, Yu Hongyan did not feel any disharmony, nor did she feel dejected from being forced to defend. Instead, it was as if there was a hidden dragon in the abyss, and there was an even greater power accumulating. Yu Hongyan's expression was determined. Fang Dragon King's dragon fire had been boosted by Honing Dragon King's demonic power. It had far exceeded the limits of his previous abilities. Although Yu Hongyan's impenetrable cloud holy spear had the power of tying true water, a large amount of dragon fire still broke through and landed on Yu Hongyan. The 7 kills star armor shone with purple light, blocking most of the dragon fire for Yu Hongyan. But there was still a lot of dragon fire that attacked her. In Yu Hongyan's eyes, there was a faint flicker of fire. Her control over her own power had reached an extremely fine level. All the acupoints on her body were opening and closing. Each acupoint moved at a different speed and frequency, as though each acupoint had its own thoughts. The invading dragon fire was dispelled by the pulsing acupoints on Yu Hongyan's body. After absorbing the dragon fire and refining it, they would spit it out again. This prevented the dragon fire from causing too much damage to her body. But even so, the pain from the dragon fire was not something an ordinary person could endure. Endless pain. Endless torture. All the blood and qi in her body seemed to be boiling. All 48,000 pores on her body were twitching in pain. It was as though they were wailing and screaming at the same time. Yu Hongyan did not make a sound. Her gaze was as determined as ever. But the roiling dragon fire was increasing. The fire that broke through the immortal cloud's spear was also growing. Everything seemed to be sliding into an unsalvageable abyss. Fang's Dragon King stared at Yu Hongyan and said coldly, "That Qin person is seeking his own death. He and his immortal dragon city are about to be destroyed. Your fellow sect members will not be able to save you. Woman, you are dead today. Even if your other sect members come here, I will kill you before they arrive. You will not be able to wait for them to save you." Fang's Dragon King laughed coldly. "Do you have a lover? If you do, then think of him before you die. You are fated to never see him again. Hate him for letting you die here alone." Hearing this, Yu Hongyan's expression did not change. She looked coldly at Fang's Dragon King, who made the rule that women must wait for others to save them. Her gaze grew brighter and brighter, to the point that Fang's Dragon King felt it was blinding. In the sky, lightning bolts struck down. However, they did not attack Fang's Dragon King, but landed on Yu Hongyan. Other than the dragon fire, a sea of lightning essence qi also poured into Yu Hongyan's meridians. Countless lightning sparks swam around her body, like thousands of lightning snakes. Yu Hongyan opened her mouth and spat out a stream of light. Within the light, there was a large amount of golden blood mist. This blood mist spread out and covered Yu Hongyan's body. It fused with the dragon fire and lightning, as if her entire body was coated with a layer of golden light. The red-haired girl's blood qi power became even stronger. Chapter 1187. Yu Hongyan's entire body was covered in a layer of golden radiance. Within the golden radiance, the acupoints of different sizes on Yu Hongyan's body were flashing with a large number of light spots. It was as though they had a life of their own and were breathing. Every acupoint was fluctuating as though there was an extremely powerful creature residing in each acupoint. These light spots were all crimson in color, like flames. Within the fiery red light, there were bluish-purple electric arcs that were flickering and jumping. At this moment, a powerful force was surging within this seemingly petite body. What shocked and angered Fang's Dragon King was that the golden blood mist that Yu Hongyan had just refined was the pure primordial sky dragon's true blood. That wasn't the flesh and blood of any other dragon. It was the flesh and blood of the Kuran Dragon King that was fighting with Zhu Yi, Sword Venerable Tiangang, and the rest. It originated from the dragon tail that Lin Feng had destroyed. A portion of the true blood of the heavenly dragon was bestowed by Lin Feng to his disciples. As a cultivator that specialized in martial arts, Yu Hongyan naturally received a portion. However, the power contained in the Kuan Dragon King's flesh and blood was too powerful. Even though the dragon tail had been completely destroyed, the true blood was not something that a Yuanian cultivator could withstand. However, Yu Hongyan had already made the necessary arrangements under Lin Feng's guidance. Although she did not expect the situation to turn out this way, it did not affect her decision. There were risks, but Yu Hongyan was not someone who was afraid of risks. Under the tempering of the lightning and fire, The pure golden primordial sky dragon's true blood covered Yu Hongyan's body like a layer of light film. Then it was gradually absorbed by the acupoints of her body. In Yu Hongyan's eyes, there was a surge of purple light. The void around her started to crack, and several black holes appeared at the same time, engulfing everything around her. At this moment, Yu Hongyan's Tao Scripture Foundation Tao technique was being circulated to the extreme by Yu Hongyan. Golden light glittered on her body, and even purple stripes began to appear, gradually taking the form of flickering dragon scales. As the dragon scales opened and closed, a large amount of thunder fire surged out, and then absorbed the new dragon fire and heavenly thunder, as if forming a stable cycle. The momentum of Yu Hongyan's spear was getting slower and slower, but the aura it exuded was getting stronger and stronger. It was as though in this extremely dangerous situation, he was squeezing out all the potential in his body. It was like a peerless divine weapon that had been tempered once again, becoming sharper. A pill suddenly appeared, as if it was formed from a ball of ceaselessly roiling clouds. It was the 33 Heavens Fortune Immortal Pill. Yu Hongyan opened her mouth and swallowed the cloud-shaped immortal pill. Yu Hongyan raised his head to the sky and let out a long, clear roar. At this moment, Yu Hongyan's heaven and earth Dharma idol, which had completely merged with his physical body, finally appeared. The heaven and earth Dharma idol stood tall, its 8 arms stirring up wind, thunder, water, volcanoes, and swamps. Its body was covered in heavy armor, which was like dragon scales. As the scales opened and closed, large amounts of thunder fire surrounded this huge heaven and earth Dharma idol. The Dharma form of heaven and earth was born with 4 heads and 4 faces, each with a different expression. The first one was cold and murderous like a strong wind. The second one was gloomy and oppressive like rain clouds. The third one was angry like a thunderbolt. And the last one was unpredictable like a lightning bolt. Above the heaven and earth Dharma idol's head, there seemed to be wind, rain, thunder, lightning, fog, snow, and many other natural phenomena appearing at the same time. Above the natural phenomena, there was an illusory realm, which showed the destruction of all things, the collapse of the void, and the scene of everything returning to nothingness. Then the scene of a cauldron forming a new world was created. Yu Hongyan directly let go of the army destroyer monarch halberd. The green and black halberd suddenly enlarged in the void, and was grabbed by the huge heaven and earth Dharma idol. Then, it fiercely counterattacked the Fang Dragon King's violent attacks. Spear after spear, it met attack with attack, shattering the void and clashing with the dragon fire in front of it. It faced the difficulties head-on, pressing forward with an indomitable will. A young girl appeared above Yu Hongyan's head. She looked almost exactly the same as herself, about 15 or 16 years old. It was her Yuanying. As the heaven and earth Dharma idol continued to display its martial Tao, Yu Hongyan's essence, qi, and spirit also continued to rise to new heights. Her body also continued to absorb the power of the thunder fire and dragon blood, becoming stronger and stronger. At this moment, both the tangible and intangible spirit were continuously strengthening. The obstacles that she couldn't clear in the past were now easily solved. It was as if there was a brand new world in front of her, presenting itself to Yu Hongyan. This caused her heart and spirit to be unprecedentedly clear. To her, this was a brand new experience. It was as if she had been reborn and stood at a brand new height. The faintly discernible door in her mind started to become clear at this moment. As the heaven and earth Dharma idol charged forward, Yu Hongyan took one step at a time. At this moment, the opponent she wanted to defeat was no longer the toothless Dragon King in front of her, but her past self. To surpass herself and step into a brand new world. The toothless Dragon King's gaze was cold as he stared at Yu Hongyan. The majestic dragon fire continued to attack, but most of it was blocked by the golden light membrane. The flames that could pass through the light membrane were actually helping Yu Hongyan increase her strength. How could he not see that Yu Hongyan was using this opportunity to break through the barrier between heaven and man, and reach the primordial soul stage? Thinking that he had become Yu Hongyan's whetstone, the toothless Dragon King's anger and humiliation rose even further. He could not hold it in any longer, and his entire body leapt into the sea of fire. He turned into a red light dragon and attacked Yu Hongyan with all his might. Yu Hongyan's heaven and earth Dharma idol's four faces let out a silent cry, but it stirred up the surroundings. The wind blew, the clouds scud, and the thunder rumbled. Her eyes were closed, and her body seemed to be unaware of anything. Her hands moved like she was holding a spear, and then she stabbed at the toothless Dragon King. The heaven and earth Dharma idol that was holding the army-breaching halberd did the same. Wild power surged, and the golden light membrane and the sky full of thunder and fire were all added to the spear. Yu Hongyan struck out with the strongest attack of her life, and clashed with the toothless Dragon King. After this attack, the toothless Dragon King's body paused for a moment, while Yu Hongyan's willpower reached its peak, and he pushed open the primordial soul door. When she was young, she saw the flames of war raging in the sky, and the blood of her family and friends splattering everywhere in front of her. The beautiful and peaceful mist mountain in her memory, which was covered in snow all year round, no longer existed in the blood and fire. From then on, she embarked on a life of exile. There were many close calls, and she suffered from hunger and cold. Her friends were sacrificed one by one, and her numbers were reduced. She grew up in such an environment, and fought continuously to protect her people. In the end, she lost everything because of the person she once trusted the most. It was only when she met her master, Lin Feng, at Eternal Spring Mountain that everything seemed to change. At the peak of Jade Capital Mountain, under the mysterious sky treasure tree, the mysterious sky treasure tree leaf that was stuck between her brows, and helped her build a Grade 1 spirit platform, brought her to a whole new world. From then on, she was unwavering. Yu Hongyan's body suddenly opened her eyes, and purple light surged in her eyes. Yuanying turned into a stream of light, and merged with her heaven and earth Dharma form. The huge heaven and earth Dharma form completely merged with Yu Hongyan, and they rushed into the open door together. After passing through the door, Yu Hongyan's heaven and earth Dharma form was baptized by the laws of heaven and earth. It disintegrated into talisman seeds, and each seed was compatible with heaven and earth, and shone with dazzling light. In the next moment, these talisman seeds turned into a huge Tai Chi diagram in the void. It was half black and half white, and the two levels blended together. Slowly it rotated. Yu Hongyan's martial will manifested in the sky above the Taiji diagram. The illusions became clearer and clearer. Life and death continued in the void. Everything was changing and changing, showing the wonders of heaven and earth. At the same time, the illusions revealed an extremely ferocious, destructive, and powerful energy. A clear song reverberated around the vast land of infinite wilderness. Mist Mountain is filled with fire and snow, and I listened to the mantra under the mysterious sky tree. The heavenly lightning and earthly fire will refine my body, and I will take the lead. The fourth disciple of the master of the celestial sect, perfected Lord Black Mist Yu Hongyan, had reached the essence soul realm today. The army destroyer halberd had already merged into the huge Tai Chi diagram. Apart from that, there was also a blood-red ball that looked like a blood-red gem, or a ferocious eyeball. It also fell into the Tai Chi diagram formed by Yu Hongyan's essence soul. Not only that, even the 7-kill star armor on her body suddenly left and merged into the Tai Chi diagram. The power of the Tai Chi diagram spread out, and Fang's Dragon King, who was at the primordial true spirit state, even felt a faint sense of fear. How can he break through so easily and reach the essence soul state so quickly? The difficulty for humans to reach the essence soul state is similar to the difficulty for us to reach the indestructible demon soul state. How can he do it so easily? He originally thought that Yu Hongyan did not know what was good for him. He actually dared to reach the essence soul state in front of him. If it was any other human cultivator, even if they could successfully form a essence soul, when facing a powerful enemy like Fang's Dragon King, it would be the same as putting their lives in the hands of Fang's Dragon King. They would be killed during the breakthrough. Sometimes, the Fang Dragon King wouldn't even bother to attack Yu Hongyan when he was trying to break through. However, he knew that Yu Hongyan was only at the late stage of the Yuanying realm. Yu Hongyan was already his opponent, so he wouldn't underestimate him. But after the first attack, when Yu Hongyan started to break through and officially reopen the gate of Essence Soul, the golden membrane suddenly solidified. It flashed with lightning and fire, and blocked Fang's Dragon King outside. If Fang's Dragon King had enough time, he would eventually be able to break through. However, the speed at which Yu Hongyan broke through was far beyond his expectations. When he finally broke through the golden membrane, Yu Hongyan had already formed his own Yuan Shen. Fang's Dragon King gritted his teeth. His pride and anger did not allow him to retreat. Instead, it stimulated him even more. He thought viciously, no matter what the result of today's battle is, even if you form a Yuan Shen, I will destroy your physical body. You are a martial cultivator. If your physical body is destroyed, no matter how strong your Yuan Shen is, your power will be greatly reduced. Whether you can find a satisfactory physical body is still unknown. With that thought, Fang's Dragon King roared and turned into a ray of red light. He wrapped around the Tai Chi diagram and Yu Hongyan's own physical body. Then he suddenly tightened. He wanted to crush Yu Hongyan's physical body before Yu Hongyan's Yuan Shen merged with his physical body. Chapter 1188. When the red light from the Toothless Dragon King wrapped around Yu Hongyan's body, the Tai Chi diagram formed by Yu Hongyan's Yuan Shen suddenly turned into a cloud pillar and fell on top of her head. Yu Hongyan's body shook, as if she had woken up from unconsciousness. She took in a deep breath. As she inhaled, the sky dragon blood and the power of lightning and fire that floated around her body were absorbed into her meridians. The power of the dragon blood was so strong that even with Yu Hongyan's Yuan Shen, she could only absorb a portion. The rest was stored for future cultivation. But even so, her body's power had already reached an unbelievable level. Her Yuan Shen and her body were completely merged. Her meridians were like stars in the universe. At this time, Teeth Dragon King's power had shrunk to its limit. But he could clearly feel that as he shrunk, Yu Hongyan's body seemed to have shrunk as well. This was not a transformation of a god art, but a powerful physical power that could be released and retracted at will. It was a combination of strength and softness. Even in a state of unconsciousness, it could still adjust itself. When Yu Hongyan's primordial spirit and her physical body completely fused, the purple light in her eyes faded away, and she regained her clarity. Her physical body immediately stopped shrinking, and she pushed outwards with all her might. Teeth Dragon King instantly felt that the thing wrapped around his body was a pillar that could support the heavens. Even if it was a mountain, it would shatter after being wrapped around by Teeth Dragon King's body. But now that he was wrapped around Yu Hongyan, she did not move at all. Teeth Dragon King's heart went cold. Yu Hongyan was wearing a purple robe. After the 7-kill star armor disappeared, she did not put it back on. She was able to endure Teeth Dragon King's strangulation with just the toughness of her body. This defense is even stronger than a primordial true spirit realm smelting armor black dragon. Fang's Dragon King suddenly realized that not only was he unable to kill Yu Hongyan, but Yu Hongyan's power was getting stronger and stronger, and was slowly pushing the red light away. The Fang Dragon King started to feel a tearing pain in his body. It was as if his body was about to break under that immense power. Yu Hongyan's expression was calm, but her killing intent was overflowing. She began to exert strength in her arms, and the red light that bound her began to expand. The Fang's Dragon King roared angrily and suddenly let go of Yu Hongyan. It turned into a fiery light and flew away, trying to increase the distance between it and Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan stepped into the air and chased after the Fang's Dragon King. But the Fang Dragon King, who was acting like he was escaping, suddenly turned around and turned around. He opened his mouth, revealing 2 extremely dazzling dragon fangs. Those dragon fangs were completely formed from flames, and gradually turned into light. Next, the 2 glowing dragon fangs shot out pillars of light. The sea of dragon fire in the surrounding void was also attracted by the 2 light pillars. All the dragon fire began to merge into the 2 light pillars, turning into 2 huge pillars of fire that could split the heavens and the earth. They shot towards Yu Hongyan, who was chasing him. This was originally a killing move that the Fang's Dragon King had planned to use to turn the tables. But as he turned around, his heart jumped. It was as if a heavy hammer was pounding on his heart, causing his entire body to tremble. He felt like a disaster was about to befall him. He saw Yu Hongyan, who who was chasing him in the air, fuse his blood essence and martial intent together, pushing it to the extreme. His meridians trembled like a tsunami. A majestic, vigorous, and peerlessly overbearing aura gushed out, causing the world around them to change color for a moment. Yu Hongyan stepped into the air. With every step, his body would bend or straighten, open or close. It looked comical at first glance, as his speed was as slow as an old bull. But as Yu Hongyan stepped forward, her speed became faster and faster. Her body flickered, causing the Fang's Dragon King, who was in the primitive true spirit realm, to be unable to see her movements. Increasing speed was one thing, but the strength was also increasing. At the beginning, when Yu Hongyan's feet landed, his movements seemed fierce, but they were actually very soft and powerless. When he landed on the ground, not even a speck of dust would fly up. But in the end, with every step Yu Hongyan took, the air would shatter. When his feet landed, it was as if a black hole would appear. The cracks in space exploded, as if a giant demon god was running, stomping on the ground. His movements became heavier and heavier, as if the sky was collapsing like an earthquake. Yu Hongyan's expression wasn't as cold and murderous as before. Instead, in her calmness, there was a kind of sincere faith and emotion. Moreover, her gaze contained the domineering confidence of having the entire world in her grasp, of having the power to decide life and death, and it was all up to her. Dragon Snake Rising. After Yu Hongyan achieved Yuanshin, she created a new killing move, Dragon Snake Rising. In the past, when Yu Hongyan was cultivating the essence of the Astro Sovereign's martial arts, his master Lin Feng saw it and smiled. He said, "When the heavens want to kill, the stars will be moved. When the earth wants to kill, the dragon snake will rise. When humans want to kill, the world will turn upside down." Lin Feng seemed to be speaking casually, but he was actually giving pointers to his own disciple. At that time, Yu Hongyan had already vaguely felt something in his heart. Now that he had proven his primordial soul and mastered his cultivation, he finally had substantial gains. Dragon Snake Rising meant that the earth was shaking and all living beings were restless. It was a sign of a great disaster. And now that Yu Hongyan had taken a few steps, the Fang Dragon King immediately felt like he was in big trouble. It was like the end of the world, and he was on the brink of destruction. The army destroyer Imperial Halberd reappeared in Yu Hongyan's hand. He pushed it forward with the momentum of the Dragon Snake Rising, and a ferocious spear swept across the void, directly shattering the void and sweeping away the two fiery lights from the Fang's Dragon King. The fire pillars exploded, but before they could turn into endless fire, they were all destroyed in the cracks of the space. Yu Hongyan didn't stop charging forward. He continued to charge forward. In just a few steps, he had already arrived in front of Teeth Dragon King. Teeth Dragon King had lost all hope. However, he roared and still charged at Yu Hongyan. He wanted to fight to the death. Yu Hongyan's body moved to the side, and he had already dodged the Fang Dragon King. He held his spear in one hand, and his other hand struck out at the Fang Dragon King. There was a series of muffled sounds in the air. The space collapsed, squeezing a fiery red dragon right in the middle. Yu Hongyan then stabbed out with his spear. The Fang Dragon King roared as the true spirit god mark on his forehead flashed continuously. He used all his strength to move his body forward, but Yu Hongyan's spear still managed to pierce through his dragon tail, pinning him in place. He wanted to cut off his tail in order to survive, but Yu Hongyan was faster than him. He held the spear in one hand and grabbed the wound on the Fang Dragon King's tail with the other. The Fang Dragon King screamed in pain. Yu Hongyan's hand dug into his flesh and grabbed onto a thick dragon tendon. Then he tore it apart forcefully. That dragon tendon was huge, and its toughness was beyond imagination. Even the army breaker King Halberd might not be able to break it in one strike. But Yu Hongyan's hand was grabbing the thick dragon tendon in his hand. Then he began to violently twist it. Slowly, the red-haired girl said, "You know, although senior apprentice Sister Lee is tough, she is actually soft on the inside. She is kind and warm-hearted. When I was cultivating during the Golden Elixir period, I needed several materials. I couldn't find them in the Kunlun Mountains, so I didn't ask senior apprentice Sister Lee for help. But after she accidentally heard the news, She found them in a dimensional realm owned by Purple Cloud Path and sent them to me. When she sent them to me, I couldn't even react. Teeth Dragon King didn't have time to answer her question. His huge dragon body instantly curled up like a shrimp in pain. All the scales on his body opened up, and every inch of his skin was twitching violently. Under the pain of death, Teeth Dragon King struggled with all his might. He turned around and bit at Yu Hongyan. Yu Hongyan stepped on the Fang Dragon King's tail. The air seemed to freeze, pinning the Fang Dragon King's tail firmly in the empty air. There was no material support, but the Fang Dragon King's tail could not move. The scene was extremely strange. Stepping on Teeth Dragon King's dragon aura, Yu Hongyan pulled out the Army Breaker King halberd. Then, with a lightning-fast strike, he knocked Teeth Dragon King's huge head open. At the same time, her seemingly slender white hands continued to exert force. The tough dragon tendon immediately tightened and trembled. Yu Hongyan's gaze was cold, but his tone was gentle and calm. Senior Brother Gu doesn't talk much. He always smiles warmly, and likes to watch Senior Sister Li from the side silently. But I know that his personality is the complete opposite of Senior Sister Li's. He looks gentle on the outside, but tough on the inside. He has his own ideas, and is brave and fearless. I can see that he loves Senior Sister Li so much that he won't change his mind even in death. Teeth Dragon King felt like all the energy in his body was being sucked out. He wanted to struggle, but he couldn't fight against Yu Hongyan's powerful strength. With a fierce pull, the dragon tendon was forcefully pulled out from Teeth Dragon King's body. The dragon's body was torn apart. Yu Hongyan kept the dragon tendon, and even let go of the Army Breaker King halberd temporarily. He grabbed the dragon scales with both hands, and with another forceful pull, the dragon scales and skin were also forcefully removed from the flesh. Teeth Dragon King kept roaring, but to no avail. He could clearly feel that his dragon body was starting to weaken. The true spirit god tattoo on his forehead had merged with his demon soul. He was about to leave his dragon body and abandon his body. Teeth Dragon King's heart was bleeding, but he had no other choice. But Yu Hongyan's body immediately surged with a misty red haze. It was extremely ferocious. It was the infinite demonic aura. The infinite demonic aura instantly covered Teeth Dragon King's dragon body, and even swept through the surrounding area. This corner of Tianhuang continent was covered in a red haze. Teeth Dragon King suddenly realized that his demon soul was being sucked in by Yu Hongyan, and he couldn't escape. Senior Sister Li once said that her greatest fear in this life was that her talent was weaker than Senior Brother Gu's. She was worried that she wouldn't be able to form an essence soul, and when her lifespan reached the end of 3,600 years, she might not be able to accompany Senior Brother Gu for the rest of his life. Yu Hongyan's eyes were filled with sorrow. At that time, I swore in my heart that I would ask Master for a 33 Heavens Fortune Immortal pill for her, even if I had to give her my own pill. We can't live together, but we can die together. Senior Sister Li and Senior Brother Gu might be comforted, but if they could live, who would be willing to die? Before Xiaolon left, she told me that you were the one who killed Senior Sister Li and Senior Brother Gu. I will kill you now to comfort their souls in heaven. The red-haired girl's expression turned murderous. She held up the Army Breaker King halberd again and stabbed forward. Teeth Dragon King's desperate roar echoed in the sky. The powerful dragon soul was shattered by Yu Hongyan's spear. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.